I know that your father made a scene, but don't let that bother you. I understand why that makes you angry, and I know a lot of other things are bothering you. But you can't hold any of us responsible for that. Why are you waiting for the wedding to take place?
I'm sure that Damian Ferrer is going to try to hurt Mariel in order to stop her from getting married to his son.
Did you know? Because of all those things you did, you could end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Do you want me to call the police?
For goodness sake, you have to help me.
Cut it out, attorney.
Lying heart.
To all our prospective candidates, are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Top of the morning to you all and welcome to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wamboy. We are glad you are with us on this beautiful first day of March 2022. Tumeingia episode 3 of 2022 and so far so good. We cannot complain. We do trust you've had a beautiful week so far and glad you are with us today. As always, we have a fantastic show lined up for you. And as we start this new month, Tunanza na Magalde. Today is an all-lady hosting panel. Victor is unable to be with us today, but he's with us in spirit, but we shall represent. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey.
Episode 3 it is. Oh.
How y'all doing today?
We're good. Good.
Doreen.
Niko Sambamba.
What's a guan?
Niko sawa.
Koko sawa, minko sawa.
Niko sawa kosa?
Niko sawa.
Na pia Ria kosa?
Sawa.
And I represent pale na color blue.
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 How are things looking for us, Doreen?
Good morning. Good morning to your viewers. You know we always appreciate you for making time to join us. I mean, just tuning on your TV from 6:30 to 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. We do not take that for granted and we appreciate you always. That is why we are always here to just bring you the show as it is, and today is definitely a packed up show. We have so much in line for you this Tuesday morning, so we urge you to stay put up until the end of the show. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo, the lady in Bulu.
Bulu.
Oh yes.
Good morning.
They said life, you know, favors the bold and the brave. Why not?
And the beautiful.
Oh yes.
But I thought blues were reserved for Monday.
Who said?
Monday
Who
blues.
said?
No, Monday blues.
Who
so
said
bring
so?
them to Tuesday.
Anyway, it's a new month. I wish each and every person, you know, we need to look inwards and also be grateful. There are very many people who wanted to wake up this morning, but for one reason or another, they did not, or whatever they had planned for did not come to pass. But you and I, you know, we're here, and thus we remain grateful. It's not by our might, you know, there's someone who is calling the shots, right? And since it's Tuesday and not a Sunday to preach, but I'd want to remind our viewers as well as my team here, both on set and off set, I'd want to point out to Romans 8:28.
Preach, preacher.
Romans 8:28. Everything is being done for your good. That's me paraphrasing, but kindly have a look at that particular verse, especially when, we are all struggling. The cost of living is way too high. We are anxious about, the exams, where we will get school fees for the children. But hey, be still, know that He's God, and know that what He's doing for your good. Good morning once again. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara, and being the first of March 2022 and a Tuesday, we have so much lined up for you, including what has been making headlines in as far as our local news is concerned, and also we have information on what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. So do keep it right here, and if you prefer to actually read about this developments in as far as news is concerned, we have a fully fledged website that is up and running and updated. That is on www.kbc.co.ke. In the meantime, we welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My colleagues' Twitter handles are Jane at Jane Wamboy. We have Doreen Traffic Marshal A1 at Doreen Arange, and I am Regina at Ray Manyara. Without further ado, let's take a quick breather. We'll be back with the news. Good morning, if you're tuning in. This is In the Headlines on Good Morning Kenya at KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. Now we start off with unfortunate news where 11 people lost their lives in separate accidents across the country. 6 people, among them 2 children, died in Isiolo while a truck veered off the road and rammed into some buildings. 5 others died in a grisly road accident involving a public service vehicle and a stationary trailer at Nyabaito along the Kisii-Nyamira Road.
6 people, among them 2 children, lost their lives after a truck veered off the road. The driver of the lorry lost control and hit a woman and 2 children before ramming into a wall and 3 buildings belonging to the East African Pentecostal Church.
Mambo hii imetupata saa hizi tumesikia tukiwa na huzuni kubwa sana kwa sababu kuna mmoja wetu ambaye ni mwanabodaboda ambaye amepoteza watoto wake.
Unakuta hata saa nyingine si gari imekata break, ni ulevi ndio unafanya. Unakuta mtu anajaribu kukimbizana. Hii barabara si ya barabara ya US ambaye hakuna bumps. Hii barabara ina wakazi wengi. Kuna soko kubwa hapa ambaye ina cost more than 10,000. Hii Isiolo town. Afadhali hata huyu ameloa amesaidia akaingia hapa, angeingia soko angemaliza wazazi wetu.
When we approximate, tunapo estimate, it is coming to around 20 million damage.
12 other people nursing injuries at the Isiolo County Referral Hospital, with 4 in critical condition.
Isiolo irudishe speed bumps kwa sababu inasaidia hata madereva kupunguza.
In Kisii County, 5 people perish in a greasy road accident involving a public service vehicle and a stationary trailer at Nyabioto along Kisii-Nyamira Road. 4 others who were seriously injured were rushed to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital.
The 2 with head injuries have already been evaluated and are already on treatment and management by our specialists in those specific areas.
Residents are pleading with the government to construct speed bumps at the accident to avert future incidents.
Walikuwa watu 5 walikufia hapo, wengine tuwatoa ndani, lakini tunaomba serikali tu iangalie barabara na waangalie madereva wetu waturinde.
The grisly accident comes in the wake of ongoing talks between NTSA and Matatu operators leadership in Nairobi.
We have agreed that they will try and ensure that they become as humane as possible to ensure that road safety interests are taken care of, but also investor interests are taken care of, noting that we have just come out of corona situation. And
away from that sad incident there, and also a reminder that both motorists and pedestrians needed to adhere to the road regulations there to avoid, some avoidable accidents. Remember, accidents are human error, 90%, if not 99.9%.
Now, on to matters education, where the Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says the education system will not be affected by the transition of politics. Now, he was speaking in Murang'a County when he commissioned junior secondary school classrooms in Gituto, Gadhinga and Kahuya Girls High Schools in Kahuro Sub-County. Now, Magoha said the current education system is intact and embedded on a solid base that can weather any political transformation.
Even as the country enters heated campaigns in the readiness for the August 9th polls, the Ministry of Education has assured Kenyans that the current education system will not be affected by the outcome of the August polls.
The fact that there is going to be a transition in government does not matter. The fact that me and my team shall not be there does not really matter. The children are very well taken care of as per the Constitution.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says education programs are designed to be completed as scheduled.
I think it is now true that all the books have been delivered to all schools in preparation for grade 6 in May. In terms of the teachers were trained early in December. In terms of the assessments that shall be done for them, the assessments are ready.
He at the same time said the ministry has sealed loopholes for cheating in the national examination.
I would also want to disabuse the minds of the people. That exam has not leaked. Of course, the cartels are there and they are doing their business as usual. But if you want to do business with them, then that's your own business.
Elsewhere, the government has been urged to assure learners in the volatile parts of Laikipia County of their security as they sit for their national examinations beginning next week.
Tunaelekea mambo ya exam ya watoto wetu. Tunataka serikali iweze kulinda watoto wetu area Olmoran, Lonyek, Magadi kwa sababu huko ndio kuna usalama. Tunataka serikali itie nguvu kwa upande huo.
And the National Government Constituency Development Fund has moved in to relocate one of the largest learning institutions from the National Youth Service grounds in Naivasha. NYS Primary School, which for years has been operating in the training school, will be relocated to new grounds following security concerns by the parents and management of the institution.
Kila kitu ambayo inatakikana kwa shule tutakuja naye. Ile haiko tutanunua. Tuko prepared kuhamisha kila kitu. Tuachie NYS mambo yao watumie pale.
Sababu area ni kidogo, kumekuwa na shida ya vyo, sewage, sisi tuko chini, shule iko pande ya chini.
Matters education, bearing in mind that from the 7th we're going to be having our national exams kick start. So for all the students and candidates who are going to be sitting for the exams, all the best. Now, Kenya has recorded 37 new COVID-19 cases from a sample size of people who have tested positive from the disease, from a sample size of actually 5,894 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 0.6%.
Kenya reported the first case of the novel coronavirus in March 2020, and amid the uncertainty, scientists both at the national and county level worked round the clock to seek a solution to a disease that had even claimed the lives of top health specialists in the country. 2 years into the pandemic, the Council of Governors has launched a consortium showcasing the success stories and best practices adopted by counties on COVID-19 response.
The compendium we are today launching contain a combination of innovative measures taken by the county government and in dealing with the pandemic.
In preparation for the rising incidence of positive COVID-19 cases, Machakos County, for instance, converted its stadium, the Kenyatta Stadium, into a temporary hospital for mass testing and isolation to treat mild and moderate COVID-19 infections. While in April 2021, Kericho County adopted the use of radiology to test COVID-19 and initiate treatment on time.
County governments have to think on their feet and generate solutions to manage the spread of COVID-19 and the impact of the virus on population.
In Nyandarua County, for instance, we have already registered 30,000. They're called indigents, people who are most vulnerable And of course, we are moving to the general populations so that they all get into the universal health care.
The Council of Governors now wants the healthcare sector to make use of telemedicine in order to achieve universal health coverage for all, saying the technique has worked in the case of the COVID-19 pandemic response.
It is very difficult to be treated today in Kenya. And I'm hoping that's something that will be looked into. Even the treatment in private hospitals must be brought down. We are overcharging our people. A small operation, 1 million shillings. It is not sustainable.
Healthcare is a right to the people of Kenya. So it's a program that is endless. It has to continue. It has to be successful.
Now, that was a detailed report by Purity Museo, just letting us know what Council of Governors are now citing as the main challenge, in tackling the COVID-19 situation. Remember, further details are still available on our website. Now, still keeping up with other stories that are making headlines, and now we are crossing over to matters of, elections and what other stakeholders are having to say. And this is a story that has been well fleshed out by our reporter here, Camp Chemenza, where political parties have been urged to take advantage of the newly amended Political Parties Act to realize the elusive inclusion aspect in political positions. Now, the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne Derrito, says the political parties must deliberately involve special interest groups in elective and nomination posts to receive 15% of the political party's fund. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has, in the meantime, set guidelines to ensure political parties realize the inclusion aspect are ready, and that the Commission will be engaging parties on its implementation. Here's Kamcha Medza with the details.
Political parties will now have to go out of their way to bring on board special interest groups as stipulated in the law.
Look at the different structures of the society in terms of the ones that are marginalized so that we come on board. And it must be affirmative action, which is a deliberate effort to do that on the part of the party. And I know they are committed to do that.
With about 160 days until the general elections, a multi-agency team and political parties convened a consultative meeting to deliberate on how to promote meaningful and greater participation of special interest groups ahead of the August 9th general elections.
It is upon you political parties to ensure that actually you provide the environment, a safe environment in which there is strong participation of people with special interests.
This will solve a problem, particularly at the local level, where we have to add and add until we get to the 2/3. So if we get the right proportion from the elections, then we don't have to nominate.
We will consider setting aside a proportion of nominations for all elective positions to women candidates in every county. We therefore ask women, youth, and persons with disability to present their candidature for competitive elections.
National Gender and Equality Commission has come out to declare that it will fight any form of discrimination in the political party nominations.
As we move to August 9th, general elections, and also to the party primaries, and the whole process, I want to assure you that the National Gender and Equality Commission will monitor each and every process. And this is not a threat. I usually say I'm a perennial petitioner. There are those things that we shall find that will require us to go to court.
According to IEBC, bottlenecks and legislative hurdles still exist in realizing the inclusion aspect.
We recall the introduction of legislation to ensure that special interest groups are represented in decision-making bodies of political parties. We may want to ask ourselves if this has had an effect on giving women a face or a platform within the political parties.
The Commission, however, says guidelines to ensure political parties realize the inclusion aspect is ready and will be engaging the parties on how to implement it.
Now, on to matters politics, the United Democratic Alliance, that is UDA, Treasurer Omingo Magara resigned from the position, citing hurdles by some unnamed quarters to realize his political ambition. His resignation coming few hours after his party leader, Deputy President William Ruto, left the country on a foreign trip.
Speaking in Kisii town, Magara claimed that he had been yearning to become area governor but found it impossible through the UDA party. He, however, said he was consulting with his supporters to get a bearing on which political formation he should engage with to realize his dream.
My political future and ambitions must be sufficiently addressed, cannot be sufficiently addressed by the UDA party. I therefore immediately resign as a party member and as a treasurer. I continue talking to other political players with a view to finding political suitors that align with my vision for Kenya.
Elsewhere, Nairobi senatorial aspirant Samuel Masaki has formally presented his bid to the United Democratic Alliance Party. Masaki expressed his confidence of capturing the seat once he gets the nod from UDA.
Let's have a free and fair process, and also let's sell our agenda to the people, to the Nairobi County, to the people and to the young people, to ensure that we get the best suited position and the best suited candidate to flag this ticket with the other candidates.
Nairobi gubernatorial aspirant Anne Kagure has promised to improve the livelihoods of Nairobians and revive stalled projects if she gets elected for the Nairobi County top seat. Speaking in Nairobi's Eastland area, Kagure assured the youth that her government will give them the first priority in terms of job opportunities.
The Nairobi County, the last time that they had mass recruitment in employing people was the year 1998. Those are 23 years ago. There are those who have retired. There are those who have gotten greener pastures. There are those who have probably even passed on. I am going to make sure that I restructure and we employ more people. We are also going to eliminate the cargo system.
This as Machakos gubernatorial aspirant Wavinya Ndeti maintains that plans to have Oka sign coalition pact with Azimio la Umoja movement are still on. Speaking during the fundraiser at ABC Kadhangadhini Church in Machakos County, Wavinya said the leadership of Azimio la Umoja will be based on a three-legged stool and that they will still have hopes that Kalonzo will be the coalition's flag bearer.
Cha muhimu ni tuchukue hii nchi yetu tuiweke kama nchi moja na tuwe na uongozi mwema katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Tunataka uongozi wa amani, tunataka viongozi watulivu, viongozi wale wanaweza kukaa vizuri hata na zile nchi zingine.
On to matters health, where education, or rather matters health, but education stakeholders from the Lake Region Economic Bloc have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a Center of Excellence in Health Education and Training. The center, to be domiciled at the Kisii University, will serve as a regional hub for healthcare, research and training of advanced level medical personnel for the Kenya and Eastern African countries.
With the funding from the UK Export Finance, an estimated 30 billion shillings will be invested in the project, which will be domiciled at Kisii University, with Maseno, Masinde Muliro and Egerton to serve as ports. Health Principal Secretary Dr. Susan Mochache said the centre will focus on offering programs that build the capacity of health professionals in the country, such as telemedicine.
We cannot realize universal health coverage without reviewing, reinterrogating, rethinking the curriculum that we have for training of health workers in the country. So this project will already set the universities that are going to be involved a step higher than the others and begin to set the paces.
Dr. Mochache noted that the collaboration has had numerous benefits to Kenya, even as she described the upcoming centre as a catalyst to the transformative change in healthcare delivery.
I also wish to note that this will not only poise the counties to offer very good service, but it will also poise us to offer medical tourism, considering that a lot of the counties here are actually on the borders of or the international borders of our country.
The governors present, led by Lake Region Economic Bloc Chair and Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, lauded the development, terming it a huge step to the realization of the universal health coverage.
The milestone that we are witnessing this afternoon under the Kenya-UK Health Alliance Partnership will see 4 pilot universities that are here, namely Kisii University, Maseno University, Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, and Egerton University participate effectively in this collaboration project.
We, on the other hand, will continue to develop a robust health system which is digitalized and integrated at all levels, right from patient interaction to the facility level, to supply chains and even intermediate in telemedicine.
So this KUKA program then would provide us a platform for bilateral knowledge, exchange, and even capacity improvements.
Vice President, University of Manchester, Professor Graham Lord, who addressed the meeting virtually, reassured of United Kingdom's commitment to improving healthcare in Kenya through collaborations.
There is much learning that we in the UK need to do and partners in Kenya. And actually, since we started this conversation, just to give an example of how this partnership is shaping what we are doing in Manchester and the whole of the UK, equitable healthcare driven by academic insight is now one of the major focuses of the University of Manchester.
The vice-chancellors from the 4 universities committed to partake in the establishment and running of the centre in their respective capacities.
Before we take you to the corridors of justice, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back with news in not too long.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Sisi hatuna haja na yeye. Haja yetu ni mama yake. Watakutupa jani kama taka wewe. Hivi ndivyo utakavyokuwa ukinikaribisha kila siku.
Nikisimama hapa namuona kombo tu. Wewe sikuoni.
Zari hakustahili kuwa hai kabisa.
Mimi niko sawa.
Unataka nini mama?
I know that your father made a scene, but don't let that bother you. I understand why that makes you angry, and I know a lot of other things are bothering you. But you can't hold any of us responsible for that. Why are you waiting for the wedding to take place?
I'm sure that Damian Ferrer is going to try to hurt Mariela in order to stop her from getting married to his son.
Did you know? Because of all those things you did, you could end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Do you want me to call the police? For goodness sake, you have to help me. Please cut it out, attorney. Lying heart.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as one of people say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
You're watching KBC Channel 1. This is In the Headlines, and being the 1st of March 2022, I'm Regina Manyara with the latest news. Further details are still available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now, off to the corridors of justice. Senator Mithika Linturi is a free man, and that is after the prosecution failed to prefer charges against him within the allocated time. The senator has been out on a 2 million shilling cash bail following accusations that he made hateful remarks at a political rally in Eldoret.
Nakuru Chief Magistrate Edna Nyaloti on Monday directed the release of Senator Linturi's 2 million shillings cash bail and closed the case in which the senator was battling a hate speech charge. Nyaloti said the prosecution had failed to make its case against the senator within the 15 days it had been given to do so. Senator Linturi allegedly made hateful remarks on January the 8th at a rally in Eldoret.
Respondent and granted the DPP a last adjournment to make up their mind to either charge the respondent or withdraw the application. And this miscellaneous application is withdrawn, the file be closed, and the cash bail be released to the depositor.
Also, 3 independent electoral and boundaries commission officers have been found guilty of fraud and colluding to change tender documents for solar lanterns meant for the 2013 general elections. Chief Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi also convicted 2 directors of Solamark Technologies for forging tax compliance certificate in the fraud case that led to the loss of 147 million shillings. The 5 will be sentenced on Tuesday.
The second accused and the second and the accomplice and witness were preyed on by the 4th accused, largely for their inexperience and ignorance of the applicable law. As already explained, one cannot cite vulnerability and ignorance of law to escape criminal culpability.
Finally, EACC forensic expert Alex Kinyanjui says he obtained 14 mobile transactions linking Samburu Governor Moses Leonard Kulal and other accused persons in the 84 million shillings fuel supply scandal. Kinyanjui told the court that he had stumbled upon invoices totaling to 76.4 million shillings entered into the IFMAS system by Samburu County in favor of Oryx Service. Kinyanjui told the court that he had stumbled upon invoices totaling 76.4 million shillings entered into the IFMAS system by Samburu County in favor of Oryx Service, a company claimed to be owned by the governor and Hezbon Dathi.
Martha Koome has challenged advocates to minimize applications seeking adjournment of cases in a bid to ensure administration of justice to vulnerable members of the society. The CJ was speaking at the Supreme Court as she presided over the admission of 114 lawyers to the role of advocates.
114 lawyers have been admitted to the role of advocates by Chief Justice Martha Koome. The CJ, who presided over the ceremony together with the Registrar of the Judiciary, representative from the Attorney General's Office and the Director of Public Prosecution, urged the newly admitted advocates to address the justice gap by ensuring justice is administered to the vulnerable members of the society on time.
No, we have a big problem of communication, and you are coming in to bridge that gap of helping our people to talk to each other and find solutions to the problems that they create, because they are capable of finding solutions to the problems that they themselves create.
She stressed on the need of keeping abreast with the law and urged the advocates to avoid unnecessary case adjournment in order to curb delayed delivery of justice.
We are also opening opportunities for our people to access justice through the small claims courts, which is a game changer. We have now opened 11 small claims courts all over the country. We are hoping to open some more, and probably by the end of the year, 100.
Of course, I'm very much optimistic and I'm very much ready
to give all it takes.
It is a very momentous occasion for me and for my career, so I'm very excited at what the future holds, and it's just the beginning, so I encourage more people to go for it.
The newly admitted advocates now join the group of other 20,000 advocates who have been admitted to practice law.
Now, crossing over to matters of business is that Kenya will continue its horticulture exports to Russia despite the crippling trade restrictions imposed on the country by the United States and its European allies. Livestock Principal Secretary Harry Kimtai says the government is yet to receive any communication on the trade restrictions and will resume exports of avocados to Russia on the 4th of this month. Now, Russia is engaged in a major war with its neighbor Ukraine for the last 4 days now.
According to officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kenya is studying the restriction to see how they will affect the country after some Russian banks were cut off from the global SWIFT financial system over the weekend. Russia is the second largest market for Kenyan avocados after the European Union, with Moscow being the largest foreign market for the Kenyan Fuerte avocado variety.
We shall open officially on the 4th day of March 2022 so that our exporters, our farmers, our value chain actors can be able now to celebrate the milestone in getting back into the market.
With Kenya resuming export of the Fuerte variety next week, the government says a shipment of the fruit to Russia will continue as scheduled, as over 25 avocado exporters are yet to receive any order cancellation from Russian buyers.
From these countries, the two countries that are fighting, so we expect that we are going to make adequate preparations to ensure that there is continuous flow of trade in terms of inputs. If it is going to affect us, we shall make plans to change the suppliers so that we produce more to support those countries that are going to receive the refugees from Ukraine. So in one way, I think it is important for us to ensure that we make sure that our farmers are able to supply on short notice.
The development comes as avocado export volumes to China are expected to increase after an agreement was reached last week for the Far East nation to start accepting fresh avocado instead of frozen pieces.
Internal systems, what they care is that you are not sending them anything that has any quarantine pest. What they care is that there is no exceedance of pesticide above the required limit. What they care is that it is safe for consumption.
The first consignment of the fresh fruit is expected to hit the Chinese market in May this year.
We envisage within the shortest time possible, then they'll be able to make contacts into Kenya, and we can be able to have probably some consignments leaving even as early as May or thereabout.
Kenya exported 85 tons of avocado last year, representing an increase from 70 tons on the previous year, netting the country 14 billion shillings.
Keeping tabs on what is happening in Ukraine and Russia and how it affects the macroeconomics matrix, not just within Kenya, but also across the trading blocs, that's the EU and such. Now, still back home and on matters of business is that Kenya's annual inflation dropped to 5.08% in February from 5.4% a month in January on account of cheap electricity and improved rainfall that eased the cost of foodstuff. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels index increased by 0.12% between January 2022 and February 2022.
The consumer price index in the country is based on the expenditures of both urban and rural households. The most important categories in the CPI went up mainly due to an increase in prices of commodities under food and non-alcoholic beverages, furnishings, household equipment, among others. The food and non-alcoholic drinks index, which comprises over a third of the inflation basket, rose to 8.7% from a year ago due to the increase in the cost of items such as vegetables and cooking oil that compare with 8.9% a month prior. Housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels index, with a weighting of 14.6% in the inflation basket, grew to 4.8% from 5.1% last month, helped by a 15% cut on electricity tariffs effective from January. The index increased by 0.4% from an index of 118.6% in January 2022 to 119 in February 2022. The month-to-month food and non-alcoholic beverages index increased by 0.83% between January 2022 and February 2022. This was mainly attributed to an increase in prices of some food items, which outweighed the decrease in prices of others. The transport index also increased by 0.04% between January 2022 and February 2022.
Now on to matters infrastructure, where 8 out of 10 infrastructure projects in Africa fail at the inception stage, according to the African Union. The poor turnaround of projects is being blamed for the low intra-African trade, which currently stands at less than 15%. The African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development, Honorable Raila Odinga, says African leaders need to engage the private sector in funding stalled projects to trigger progress.
Africa's infrastructure need stands at between $130 billion and $170 billion every year. However, the funding falls short by $68 billion and $108 billion, impacting negatively the continent's infrastructure development. Delegates attending the 7th Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa have raised concerns with the slow turnaround of infrastructural projects on the continent. African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Raila Odinga says the African continent is lagging behind in development due to many cases of stalled projects, with most of the funds meant for implementation going into unnecessary feasibility tests.
Experts and potential partners are beginning to talk of Africa's infrastructure paradox, a situation where there is extremely high demand for projects, sufficient supply of capital and investors, and voluminous potential projects, but there is insufficient investment in infrastructure projects within the continent.
The government says it is working on a framework to incorporate MSMEs to take up small-scale infrastructure projects in order to complement interconnectivity across the continent to facilitate better trade.
We are also faced with the grim reality of climate change. Extreme weather events are occurring with increased frequency and intensity, resulting in significant damage to infrastructure.
Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina says the private sector can be a key player in infrastructure development, where the government is incapable of providing seamless growth where there were stalled projects.
We remain very open, and we've seen a lot of innovation in this field because of the open space that has been created by government for dialogue with the private sector.
Within that space where government is not able to fund all the infrastructural projects, an opportunity for private-public partnership has presented itself.
The 3-day meeting brings together more than 1,000 thought leaders from across the continent to take stock of Africa's infrastructural progress and come up with ways to deal with the bottlenecks.
Multi-billion Naivasha Special Economic Zone will start in 3 months after close to 100 investors expressed interest in the 50-acre parcel of land located near the inland container depot in Mai Mahiu. This is part of the government's effort to ease the cost of doing business in Kenya and create business opportunities.
2 years ago, the government hived 50 acres from the original 1,000 acres set for an industrial park and donated it to Nakuru County for small and medium enterprises. Furthermore, Kenya offered lower electricity tariffs to attract investors to the Naivasha Special Economic Zone. Among major projects expected on the land and around the 10-kilometer buffer zone includes banks, housing estates, petroleum and hotels, which will be served by the standard gauge railway. According to the Chief Officer for Lands, Judilea Waihenya, 77 investors had been cleared ahead of the works, which are expected to change the fortunes of the semi-arid area. Speaking during a public participation forum on the land, Waihenya said that they expected the county assembly to pass the proposed plan for the economic zone in 3 months.
We have held back subdivision, we have held back approval of developments, awaiting this plan approval. So today we know that in 90 days we will be able to present this to the assembly, get approval and start serious works within Maimahio, and more specifically to align ourselves to the socio-economic zone.
Waihenya added that the county had banned any subdivision of land or development around the 10-kilometer buffer zone so as to prepare a master plan, and exuded confidence that the area will turn the fortunes of the area residents due to the number of investments on the ground.
The inland container depot is already up and running. We have appraised all those who are interested. We will be giving them an opportunity to start their works and break grounds. So in the next 6 months, we expect a lot of activity in this area to complement the needs that are already upcoming in the container inland depot.
The inland container depot is operational, and the county and the government are planning for water, electricity, housing and waste management.
Smartest Coffee, where now farmers will be able to advocate for better production and sourcing of coffee directly from policymakers and agencies following the launch of the Machakos Coffee platform. The new system allows coffee farmers and traders to interact seamlessly and track their commodities in real time.
Coffee production in Kenya has dropped from 130,000 metric tons in 1987 to the lows of 36,000 metric tons in 2020. This has been attributed to, among others, a disconnect between farmers and the rest of the value chain.
So what the platform is doing is to try to create a platform where all these people can sit together, the county, the leaders, the input suppliers, the finance people, and discuss as one with one voice.
When we bring our numbers together, the little coffees that we have, we will be able to increase the volumes, and once we have the good volumes, then we can be able to see how then do we talk to the consumer.
Machakos County, for example, is behind its peers, producing a kilogram of cherry per tree. Experts say the county, with over 36,000 farmers, has an opportunity of getting to the national average of 2 kilograms per tree. To achieve this, the call has been amplified towards special interest groups like women and the youth to boost production to embrace coffee farming.
So that we have more young people who will develop an interest, who will be supported to continue growing coffee. We also want to see women take their rightful place in leadership when it comes to coffee.
Sporting arena, where India is likely, or rather will be hosting the 44th edition of the Chess Olympiad, which was set to be held in Russia in July this year. Now, this follows Russia's invasion of the Republic of Ukraine and consequently being stripped of hosting rights of the tournament, with India being the only country that has shown interest in hosting the event that was initially set for the city of Moscow.
This year's Chess Olympiad will not be held in Russia as earlier planned after the International Chess Federation FIDE decided to strip the city of Moscow the hosting rights of the global event due to the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. A statement from the FIDE Council read, FIDE Council has decided that the 44th Chess Olympiad, including the competition for players with disabilities, as well as the FIDE Congress, will not take place in Russia. FIDE will do its most best to find another organizer for the Olympiad and in due time provide information on the location and date of FIDE Congress 2022, the statement read. India is the only country to have placed a bid to host the event as of now, but FIDE is still open to bidding rights from other nations ahead of the tournament set to be held from the 26th of July to 8th of August. Kenya had already selected a team of 10 players to compete in the biennial tournament after a 3-month selection process.
National men's basketball team, Kenya Morans, has been eliminated from the 2023 FIBA World Cup qualifiers after losing their third consecutive match 155 to host Senegal in Dakar. Now, the Cliff of War Chargers had lost their two opening matches to the Democratic Republic of Congo and Egypt, respectively. Limuru-based junior golfer Leo Gitonga emerged the winner of the second leg of the Safaricom Golf Tour held at the Limuru County Club course. Meanwhile, Kenya Breweries Limited has announced a 69.5 million shilling sponsorship of the 2022 Magical Kenya Open Golf Tournament, set to be held between the 3rd and the 4th of March in Nairobi.
The 2022 Magical Kenya Open is set to take place from the 3rd to the 6th of March this year at the Muthaiga Golf Club, bringing together 156 golfers from Kenya and across the world, including 8 Kenyan professionals and 6 Kenyan amateurs who will battle it out for a chance to win the biggest slice of the 226 million shillings prize purse.
Please come in all your numbers. Come and watch the Magical Kenya Open. Experience the golf and experience all that we have for you in the Kenya Open.
Meanwhile, Limuru-based junior golfer Leo Gitonga emerged the winner of the second leg of the Safaricom Tour held at the Limuru Country Club course. Gitonga becomes the second winner to secure a slot in the grand finale of the Safaricom Tour, set to be held in Vipingo Ridge, Kilifi County in August this year. He joins Cyprian Bundi from Nanyuki, the winner of the first leg. Susan Koinange, playing a handicap of 45, garnered 42 points and won the ladies' title. After Limuru, the tournament proceeds to Muthaiga Golf Club on 12th of next month before heading to the Nyanza Golf Club.
Yesterday, I started pretty badly. My first shot went pretty off. It went really low and just almost went out of bounds, but I kept a good attitude, and that's really all what golf is. It's all about the attitude.
Western Jaguars and Amira Ladies were crowned the champions of the 3rd edition of the Parkland Sports Club Hockey Tournament, which was played at the Parklands, Nairobi. Now, Amira beat DFG Wolverines 2-1, while Jaguars beat Sheikh Simba 2-1 through a post-match penalty.
Western Jaguars captain Ivan is optimistic that his team will finish among the top 2 in the forthcoming league, where they play in the Premier Tier.
For the league, I must say it has been a long time coming with the lockdown. So the resumption, as a team, we are really prepared. And our main objective will be to qualify for the African Club Championships and, of course, to win the league.
They were recently crowned as the Mulembe tournament winners that was held in Kakamega early this month. Amira, on the other side, are positive that the 2 years break due to COVID-19 has given the team a chance to re-evaluate their game plan and will secure a good run in the 2022 league.
Our expectations for the league, after the 2 years, I think we expect to pick up from where we left, and our target is, of course, to be top 2. And we are just happy the league is back.
The tournament was used to prepare teams for the new Kenya Hockey League season, which is expected to begin on 5th of March. However, few ladies teams took part in the event, with some citing high registration fees. Peter Obalo, a Kenyan-based international umpire, has called for more women to participate in such tournaments as they help in building their confidence on the field and also in the league participation. The tournament's top scorers and most valuable players were awarded with hockey miniatures, while the winners got medals as first runners-up took home trophies.
That is a wrap in as far as news is concerned. Remember, we have further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. We take a quick breather. When you're back, we're going to be sampling the various dailies in studio with us this morning. Do not go away.
still keen on Germany's DFB Pokal as the quarter-finals is around the corner. In football, it is easy to be intimidated by the top-flight teams, but as fate would have it, new entrants do sometimes turn the tables with their patience, perseverance, and self-belief.
Borussia Dortmund are out of the competition. St. Pauli take all the spoils.
It is therefore a tight affair this Tuesday, 1st of March 2022 at 10:45 p.m. in a match pitting Union Berlin against FC St. Pauli. Watch this spectacular duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC, your true sports partner.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
I know that your father made a scene, but don't let that bother you. I understand why that makes you angry, and I know a lot of other things are bothering you. But you can't hold any of us responsible for that. Why are you waiting for the wedding to take place?
I'm sure that Damian Ferrer is going to try to hurt Marielle in order to stop her from getting married to his son.
Did you know? Because of all those things you did, you could end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Do you want me to call the police? For goodness sake, you have to help me. Cut it out, attorney.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
What do you want?
You're a cheater.
Pinky, were you thinking you would divorce Jack and then raise the baby on your own? Is that it?
Pink, it's my baby. So think about it. If I gave up on Pinky and the baby and continue seeing you, what kind of father would I be?
Get out. Come on, get out.
God, Shannon.
Sisi hatuna haja na yeye. Haja yetu ni mama yake.
Watakutupa jani kama taka wewe.
Hivi ndivyo utakavyokuwa ukinikaribisha kila siku.
Nikisimama hapa namuona Kombo tu. Wewe sikuoni. Zari hakustahili kuwa hai kabisa. Mimi niko sawa.
Unataka nini mama?
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
When our members of parliament
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Welcome back. We now continue with In the Headlines, where we get to now have a quick look at what the dailies have for us today. We are still using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1. Our individual handles are at Ray Manyara, at Rowena Range, at Victor Olo, and at Jane Wamboi. Now, I start you off with the Daily Nation and the Star newspaper. And looking at the front page of the Star, that is how it is looking like. The main read being why dead voters could rise from the grave to vote. Why dead voters could rise from the grave to vote. And this is in regards to the verification of the audit that needs to be done when it comes to the voter registration list. It's supposed to be done 6 months to the general elections, but it is yet to be done. A story that has been covered here in great detail. I'll be giving you the nitty-gritties that have been captured in regards to this story. The other story is in regards to the NYS corruption suspects. Gethy, who was found guilty in the 105 million Kenya shillings IEBC tender. They were found guilty yesterday alongside his associate and 3 other IEBC former employees. Now, the final story that has been featured here on the front page of the Star is in regards to the price of wheat, which experts say it is likely to go up following the war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia, given that they account for 29% of the global wheat exports. That is the front page of the Star this morning. Of course, we'll be giving you more details in a bit, but let me quickly run you through the front page of the Daily Nation. Politics have taken a center stage on this particular front page. The main read being Raila Kalonzo tension, as the tension spoils the Azimio plans, and this is according to what allies of each of these 2 individuals have had to say in regards to the ongoing conversation around a mega coalition, around talks between the 2 coalitions. Will it be one mega party? Will they be talking as the 2 heads, or will they be focusing on the individual parties within the coalition? Details, of course, will be coming up in a bit. Moving on to the UDA side of the divide, Ruto brokers UDA poll pact, and this is in regards to the negotiated positions within the UDA outfit, given there has been a lot of wrangling and competition within the party, with some saying that, we are being told to step aside for this individual, and actually we have seen instances where this has actually been a matter of fact. Details, of course, I will be giving you in a bit. The other story is in regards to, of course, the ongoing preparation for the exams, as we are getting ready to usher in the examination period as the rest of the students close school. The CS for Education, Professor George Magoha, has gone on to assure that the examinations, the country is ready for the examinations. Security has been assured during this period that the children will be doing the exams, and especially in those areas that have been identified as high-risk areas. There was conversation or talk going around that some of these areas might miss out on the exams, but the CS yesterday did confirm that no students will be missing out on the exams, as the government and all security agencies are well prepared for any eventuality. Doreen.
Ultimate headache. This is the header that the PD has chosen this morning, and this is as it pertains to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance or coalition, whereby the Mathira MP declares, and he says that this position is not going to be left for ANC's Musalia Mudavadi or even Ford Kenya's Wetangula, saying that this is a preserve for the Mount Kenya region. However, factions also from the DP's camp have come to say that yes, they will not disclose particularly who will be the running mate for the deputy president, saying that these are their internal affairs, but this has to be someone who has the same vision as the deputy president, someone who is hard working, as well as various other reasons that they have put forth. But what is really coming out strong is that this is not a position for either ANC or Ford Kenya. So what does this mean for these two parties that joined UDA to form Kenya Kwanza coalition? Time will tell. And is it time for the Odingas dynasty to field 6 aspirants? This is the family of family members of Kenya First Vice President Jaramogi Odinga to go for various elective seats in this upcoming general elections. Obviously, when we get to the details, I'll be just breaking down for you who these members are and particularly which positions they will be going for come August 9th. And again, caught up in Russia-Ukraine war, Kenyans flee to Poland. There's a detailed report of Yusra Omar, who is the daughter of Changamwe MP, that just narrates her experience during this war that has been ongoing in Ukraine as it enters day 6. And to some bit of health matters, COVID was godsend for healthcare. This is a story that was well captured during the GMK news briefs, and there's just again a well-detailed report of how counties braced themselves and how they were able to handle the COVID-19 pandemic. So even as we look at it perhaps as one of those cases, just going by this particular report, looks like it was a blessing in disguise in various ways. And lastly, Linturi free man after Madoadoa charges trash. So what exactly happened to make him a free man, given the fact that after his sentiments, it elicited a lot of conversation? What exactly happened to the Meru senator? Details in a bit. Ray.
I have a copy of the Standard with me this morning, being the 1st of March 2022, and trust me, scribes are reading from the same page this morning, and it's all about matters of politics, and it has to do with Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. He is the big read on this particular issue of this particular daily. Kalonzo, man who holds Azimio's fate. Man who holds Azimio's fate. Now, Wiper leader has kept allies and rivals guessing. Yes. Will he join hands with Raila and Uhuru? Let's wait and see. Now, if he will, why has he welcomed Moses Kuria, their critic, into Oka? The next 12 days will reveal his true colors and shape the presidential poll. That is the kicker on this particular front page of this daily. And the details will be coming up in not too long, remember. And this is just what happened from the last weekend. And there have been very many questions in regard to what next and how this will affect, the presidential polls there. Remember, Wiper leader some time back came out and said that he would be a madman to actually support Raila Odinga for the presidency, and that he himself is eyeing the presidential seat there. But the developments that we have been seeing spilling over from the weekend to now, and as we anticipate that meeting come 12th of March, well, critics and analysts are, putting their best foot forward, trying to understand what the Wiper leader is all about and how his stand, once he declares his stand, then going forward, how it will impact on the presidential race. Now, that was a formation of a major coalition that complicated the entry of, that was complicated by the entry of Moses Kuria, remember, and his party. And in previous comments before is that these two were not ready to work with Raila Odinga. So what next? That's the front page and the big read in this particular daily. Now, still keeping up with the momentum and talking about politics and the elections. Now, a shocker is that the dead voters are still within the IBC register. Yes, the dead are still there. Now, this is a new risk to integrity of the polls, and this indicates that, the voters list has not been audited as the law demands. We're going to be giving details of that. With the exams are set to begin next week, the dates being 7th there. Now, Form 4 candidates who are sitting for the exams this month have until 1st of April to apply for a degree and other courses. This is the deadline that has been given for, KCSE candidates, or rather Form 4 candidates who are sitting the exams to pick out their courses there. Further on, Kenyan students who are caught up in the crossfire in Russia and in Ukraine with that particular conflict there. So this is a story detailing how the students are trying to get home and also trying to get to a safe place until that conflict is resolved. Kenya has made diplomatic deals there with some countries there accepting to host these particular students until such a time when they can be fit to travel, or until things just calm down, for them. And in brief, this is, in brief, what is happening is that some of the Kenyan delegates have already, the ambassadors that is, have been, that's the ambassador to Ukraine, and that is Paul Kurgat. Paul Kurgat has been in Russia since, went to school actually in 1984. Later in 2010, he became, quite proficient in the Russian language, and he was deployed to Ukraine as an ambassador. Now, he says Russia has cut down government scholarship programs for over 1,000 students annually in the 1980s to 12 currently. And most Kenyan students who get scholarships there to study are studying medicine, engineering, economics, and international law. Now, this particular story is headed as Russia-Ukraine conflict is at our doorstep. In quotes, students who are, stuck in that, now what we can say war-torn, not war-torn per se, but there's quite conflict there with talks ongoing. We're likely to see which direction the Ukraine-Russian conflict, where the talks that Ukraine might enter into talks with Russia, and this, it's because we have seen that the Russian military is quite a military powerhouse, so to speak. Remember, if we go back in history, the Ottoman Empire, and the Soviet Union, so to speak. Maybe we need to go back to do our, studies in history and talking about peace and democracy in the region. So details will be coming up in not too long as we continue just highlighting for you stories that have caught the scribe's eye this morning. Jane?
Now, let me just pick up from that particular Russia-Ukraine war situation and come to the Star. They've actually featured a story concerning the prices of wheat, which, according to experts, could rise due to this ongoing war. And just more details is that locally, currently, a 2 kg packet of maize flour retails for anywhere between 140 to 160 Kenya shillings. And looking at the global exports chart, Russia and Ukraine, both of them account for 29% of the entire global wheat exports. Now, according to data from the Agriculture and Food Authority, it shows that 90% of wheat that is consumed within our country is imported mainly from Russia and Ukraine. Now, when it comes to the wheat producing counties in our country, we have Narok, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Trans Nzoia, Meru, and Laikipia counties. But looking at the projected import target that was put for the 2021-2022 financial year, it was put at 2.7 million tons, and the current national wheat consumption is 24 million Kenya shillings. That is for the whole year. So roughly in a month, it's about 2 million bags of wheat against a local production capacity of only 2 million bags. Now, this goes to show just how reliant we are as a country when it comes to exported wheat, and given that these two countries are at the center of this export chart, we might see some challenges when it comes to this particular prices in the coming months or weeks, but we are yet to see how that will play out. Now, away from that, let's come back to the Daily Nation and focus on some politics. Tension between Raila and Kalonzo spoils Azimio plans, and this is a story that you've touched on right there, Regina, concerning the state of affairs between Kalonzo and former Premier Raila Odinga, because rightfully so, he said, why would he support Raila to be the president, yet he himself also has the same intent. But looking at the situation between the two gentlemen, it goes way back. Here they've given a brief outline of some of the areas of contention between these two gentlemen as well as the two parties, in line with the conversation around a mega coalition that is said to be signed and unveiled on the 12th of March. So here they go on to say that President Kenyatta is also at the center of this conversation as he faces a fresh headache in the bid to craft a mega coalition between Raila Odinga and Kalonzo amid the rising tension between these two gentlemen. Now, the number one area of concern is when it comes to the naming of this mega coalition. We have seen Kalonzo Musyoka and his allies come out to say that should they actually sign any deal, this mega coalition will be called the Azimio One Kenya Alliance. But that is something that, according to this particular daily, the two are yet to agree on, and it is subject of dispute, quote-unquote dispute, in regards to the ongoing conversations. Number two, another area is in regards to the escalating tension between Musyoka's entry into this particular conversation. The two of them still wanting to be presidential candidates, because prior to this conversation, it was clear to allies of Raila Odinga that he would be the flag bearer for the Azimio alliance as we go towards the general elections. But now with Kalonzo Musyoka into the conversation, it's scuttled that whole plan. Now, thirdly, the other area of concern is the mistrust between former allies between Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka. And of course, when it comes to, with allies of these two accusing their partners of instigating protracted negotiations when it's a bit too far, or rather too close to the elections. So trust issues also are there. And finally, the other area of concern between these two gentlemen is the negotiations. Will they be as with the negotiation between will it be between Oka and Azimio, or the individual parties within these two coalitions? So that is also an area that seems to be causing these two groups restless nights as they work towards a mega coalition. That is what this daily has for us in regards to this story, in regards to politics. Doreen.
Well, picking up on that political note, away from Azimio la Umoja, whether Kalonzo will join in or not, given that signing failed yesterday, well, it looks like seems to be a crack in Kenya Kwanza coalition or Kenya Kwanza alliance, and this is in respect to choosing of a running mate, whereby the cracks have just begun to emerge in that particular alliance following remarks by Mathira MP, that is Rigathi Gachagua, that position of running mate is preserved, or is a preserve for the Mount Kenya region. And the question is, where does that leave ANC's Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya Wetangula? But even at that, speaking on one of the local medias, Gachagua said that while these two were joining UDA to form this Kenya Kwanza alliance, they were very much aware and they fully knew that this position of vice president or position of a running mate was clearly had been set for the Mount Kenya region. But again, and saying that it's not up for grabs. This is something that had been well decided. However, they haven't quite picked and said who's going to be the running mate. And even as this is happening, Gachagua went ahead to mention that the NDC will be taking place mid this month. And during that particular NDC is when they will unveil Ruto as their presidential candidate. But around that time, they will still not say who the running mate is going to be. But following what he mentioned, Kakamega Senator Malala said that this is in a way locking out potentials who could perhaps get this position of a running mate. And again, even as this continues to just happen in this particular coalition, the big question is again, where does this leave the two, much as they knew that this position was a preserve for Mount Kenya region? So what exactly is their stand and what exactly is their position in this particular alliance? Well, again, this is just a question of time will tell, and perhaps as we continue to, as that continues to unfold, we'll continue to see what exactly will be happening in this coalition or this alliance, that is the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. So even as that is happening, 2007 208 IDPs now plead with politicians to shun and do away with violence. These are persons that had been displaced during that particular election in 2007 and 208, and now they're petitioning presidential candidates to commit to peace and caution their supporters against violence. This, they observed that leaders had retreated to their tribal cocoons to whip up emotions which could turn disastrous. So these are just amongst their fears, and this is why they are urging political leaders or leaders as a whole to just ensure that even as they go about different parts of the country to continue popularizing their bid, the question of peace should dominate most of their talks or even conversations. So even as this was being mentioned yesterday, in Nakuru, you're also seeing religious leaders coming out, or clerics coming out in large capacity to ensure that, again, they launch a national prayer caravan to just preach peace ahead of this coming election. That is the August 9th general election. And this has brought forth about, or actually more than 300 pastors who are drawn from different churches. And they say that for a minute, they will hold on church beat and they'll just go around the country to preach peace during this, as we head over to this coming general election, saying that they are putting aside their religious and denominational differences to join hands to do what God had ordained them to do, and this is just generally and largely preach peace. Regina.
Talking about, peace, politics and such, we need to exercise our democratic right, but we also have to be tolerant of, divergent views, You cannot always like what Regina or Jane likes. We have to agree to disagree, and that is where we are in as far as democracy is concerned. Now, quick one, Jane and Doreen, have you seen the latest adverts that are, on display on our major roads? Traffic Marshal A1, I'm sure you've seen a couple, even as you take a look at our various, major routes. You have seen these billboards, right? You have seen the adverts. And we're not talking about FMGs, that is fast-moving consumer goods. We're talking about politicians now are on the billboards. Yes. We are fully on the campaign trail. I think you can't do more than 5 kilometers without seeing a billboard, with one politician or another. And now this means money for advertising agencies. That means money for corporates, especially with new entrants who are coming in and trying to, popularize their manifestos and also their bid for their various seats that they are going to be vying. Now, according to this particular report, it has looked at, the money effect, or rather the money effect when it comes to matters advertising and branding. And some of the people who have been sampled, or rather quoted, have said that indeed they are making money. It is better than, nothing, given that we are trying to, get back to where we were in 2019, 2018, before the COVID situation and COVID disruptions came about. Now, I would want to quote what one of the advertising agencies has said here, is that according to Nganga, of the outdoor advertisers, is that the demand for billboards is increasing towards the election period, and about 3 months of the elections, this is the peak period when politicians and political parties take up billboards. Now, according to industry statistics, is that 2020 was the hardest year for outdoor advertising agencies because corporates cut down their budget when the pandemic brought the economy to its knees. Now, the election and the campaign trail has given, outdoor advertisers, a new lease of life, albeit, temporary for at least 6 months. That is 3 months prior and the 3 months after the elections are there. So these are short-term contracts, and it means that, at least somewhere at the end of the day, we have a trickle-down effect, if not to a majority, at least to some. And talking about a majority and some when it comes to matters of the elections, there's the issue of handouts, yes? This particular season especially, there's this article that has singled out the effect of handouts and how they are affecting the economy. So according to a Boda rider here who's been quoted in this particular daily, when we attend these rallies, the politicians leave us some money. Sometimes it's more than we could have made, So the rallies and handouts have become a disruption. And, according to this particular article, is that shopkeepers to farmers will dash out of their businesses to go get a glimpse of the campaigner and the odd handout. But it's about to get chaotic. That's what they're saying. Now, according to Nancy Ndanu from Muvuti sublocation, Machakos County, she says disruptions happen in every election cycle. When aspirants hit the campaign trail, it is a horror story for small businesses. However, now, are handouts enough to drive the economy in the poll years? There are some who are coming out and saying that, you see, this issue of handouts is not all good. It may mean money in your pocket. But what next after the 6 months? What next? So, quote unquote, is that as the rallies increase with so many political seats up for grabs in the August 9th elections, the situation is about to get more chaotic. Day jobs, especially in the informal sector, are likely to be forgotten for spells of time as handouts drive the economy. I don't know what you have to say. What's your take on issues of handouts? Should Kenyans be taking handouts? You see, I know in the political setup we have been saying kula lakini tupatane kwa debe. But then at the end of the day, is that really ethical? Should we be bribed to vote leaders who are supposed to be serving us as Wanjiko?
Wengine wanasema nitakula lakini najua ni nani nitapigia kura.
That aspect of nitakula,
and that's a reality.
It is.
Nitakula, unajua?
It is.
It boils down to, have we done enough civic education? And now, are these leaders exploiting the fact that we are first the high cost of living, right? People want want easy money. I mean, if a truck ferrying money was to for some reason or another
overturn,
and bills, 1,000 bills were just flying all over. What do you think would happen? Even just, let's not talk about machinani, just right here in Sydney.
Anywhere.
Kenyans would just watch it.
Regina, every 5 years, whenever we're getting closer and closer to the general elections, there's a lot of money that circulates, liquid cash. Rightfully so, those that are campaigning, the state of the country. It is a very financially liquid time for many people. And looking at this space and time that we are in, we were just, not too long ago, we were seeing reports of how many Kenyans are just struggling to get 3 meals a day. Most of the loans that were taken for the bigger chunk of during the pandemic was just to survive. All right. This pandemic threw everyone off course. So right now that we're getting closer to the general elections, by then I wouldn't blame anyone or judge anyone for going to get those handouts. I wouldn't judge them because you do not know that individual situation. But then again, there's the question of civic education. When it comes to some of these leaders that we vote, each of us has a right to choose who we want to vote for once we get to the polls. But should that be determined by how much they have done for you? In one way or the other, it plays a role. If we're being realistic, you are more inclined to support someone that has supported you at some point because maybe they met you at a very critical point of need where you had no other way out or no other solution, and they came in and they helped you. And for someone, that could be all they needed to vote for this individual. So it's very individual. Personally, from where I stand, whether you vote because you were given a handout or whether it is by virtue of wanting to just exercise your democratic right, utakula, lakini you will still choose who you're going to vote for.
I think, Jen, I'm with you on that when you say you wouldn't judge, and rightfully so. I also wouldn't judge because, again, Regina, you've asked a very important question. Like, let's assume that a truck is even passing just outside KBC na ikona pesa na imwagike hapo. Ama hata hapa kwa studio to something just happens and, you know, there's money. Will even this show continue? I mean, also the level of concentration. Maybe it can continue, yes, but the level of concentration given the fact that money has poured, the way we always see oil tankers do. And picking on civil education, I feel it needs to be more than civil education, and it needs to be a question of empowerment. Because look at this, when you see politicians going about campaigns, you wouldn't see them in the high-end society areas. They'd only perhaps come to the lower end or middle, so to speak. Why? Because I tend to feel it's a question of not proper empowerment of Kenyans to a point whereby how can this Kenyan make his or her own money that they do not have to rely on politicians after every 5 years just to get some little cash here and there? Because then again, how long does it last? The way we are saying here is that I will take, but I know who I'll vote for. And again, come 2027, 2032, I'll perhaps do the same as a Kenyan. Why? Because I'm not that fully empowered to make my own per se, that I do not need to rely on this one. So I think, yes, it is civil education, but it needs to be more than just civil education.
And on that note, we'll be taking a quick breather. And just to let you know, is that businessman Ben Geddy was found guilty of using forged documents to win a 105 million shillings tender to supply solar lanterns to the Electoral Commission. Further details are available on our website. We take that quick breather.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
We are still keen on Germany's DFB Pokal as the quarterfinals is around the corner. In football, it is easy to be intimidated by the top flight teams, but as fate would have it, new entrants do sometimes turn the tables with their patience, perseverance, and self-belief.
Borussia Dortmund are out of the competition. St. Pauli take all the spoils.
It is therefore a tight affair this Tuesday, 1st of March 2022 at 10:45 p.m. in a match-pitting Union Berlin against FC St. Pauli. Watch this spectacular duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC, your true sports partner.
Gone away, an angel in the sky now, and I shine my light up for you, for you. But bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye now. We're in our side. But bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. Can't come to for you. Love how you do what you do. Touch me right, treat me good. Rude one, I love how you rude. You big
11 minutes past 8 a.m. Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Time for us to quickly look at how the roads are looking like this morning, keenly focusing on Kirinyaga as well as State House Road and also Kipande Road. Just one of those slip roads, oftentimes very busy, especially in this early morning hour, knowing very fully well that this is some of those roads that have also very much benefited from what the different bodies designated to either rehabilitate, reconstruct. Most of these roads have been doing that is Kura Kenha as well as NMS. So this is how Kirinyaga Road is looking like, one of those slip roads that gets to branch off from the major Globe roundabout. In fact, the roundabout is right now not looking good at all, majorly as you leave areas of Thika Superhighway, leaving areas of Muranga Road, coming all the way to the other section of Kirinyaga Road. Those are just some of those roads that branch off from this major Globe roundabout. But this is how it is looking like. This is one of those busy slip roads. And again, talking about the different ongoing roadworks, this is one of those slip roads in the city center that has greatly benefited from that. A lot of recarpeting had been taking place on this particular stretch that was mid last year, and this is simply because it is one of those roads that leads to a lot of industries around this areas, as well as medium and small scale companies there. So this is part of what informed the entire recarpeting along Kirinyaga route, and looked like that is serving its purpose very well, because part of why that was being done, aside from it being one of those roads that is just along in line with most of those companies and industries, particularly small and medium scale, the other reason was to try and see how best that they could reduce traffic flow, because again, oftentimes anytime there's really heavy kind of traffic on sections along Moi Avenue, this is as you leave Thika Superhighway as well as Muranga Road coming to the city center, it always serves as a very good alternative route for those coming from areas of Thika Road coming to the city center. And looking at this particular stretch this morning on both lanes along Kirinyaga Road right now, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all. However, just as you near the other side of downtown is just where it begins to slightly build up, but it's just a small stretch. Away from that, continuing all the way up until inside the CBD, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all. So if you're leaving areas of Thika Superhighway and you do not want to make do with the heavy traffic along areas of Moi Avenue, perhaps heading to the other side of city center, you can clearly use that as your alternative route, because right now, again, also along Muranga Road, as you head over to CBD, that particular lane right now not looking good at all, heavy kind of traffic. But again, also this can be largely due to the fact that we very much know that BRT is still taking shape. That is the first phase, which is taking shape along Thika Superhighway, that ultimately will trickle down to the heavy kind of traffic on most of these slip roads, as well as minor roads that get to leave Thika Superhighway as you come to the city center. Away from that area, coming to the other side of Kipande Road, again, not bad at all. Also, just like Kirinyaga Road, it is again one of those very good alternative routes for those living areas of Westlands, Wayakiwe, as well as outskirts of Nairobi, of course, counties of Nyanza and Western, coming to the city center, that is Nairobi, and do not want to do the heavy traffic on the section of Uhuru Highway just after you leave the University roundabout. Kipande Road is always one of those good alternative routes. And again, we also know that clearly Expressway is still taking shape on sections of Wayakiwe, given the fact that it is terminating at James Gishuru intersection there. So clearly still taking shape along that route. And again, we also know fully well that in between the University roundabout and Kenyatta Avenue, there's still a section that is closed there because of that expressway construction which is still happening there. So clearly, again, Kipande Road could still serve as a very good alternative route for those coming from those areas that I've mentioned. Of course, estates along Wayakiwe, sections of areas of Kikuyu, Kino, Kangemi, Uthiru, as well as areas of Parklands, Westlands, coming all the way to CBD. And like I mentioned, if you do not want to make do that heavy traffic on that section of Uhuru Highway, particularly in between University Way and Kenyatta Avenue, then Kipande Road could serve as a very good route for you, because right now, in fact, nothing nothing is changing at all since when we began looking at this stretch. This is just as you head over to sections or areas of Waiyaki and as well as also leaving that area, coming all the way to Kipande Road. Basically, what I'm saying is that on both lanes of this road, there's no traffic at all. So it means if you're leaving areas of Moi Avenue, Tomboya, Kirinyaga Road, Muranga Road, Thika Super Highway, going to areas of Waiyaki Way or Westlands, you could use that as your route, as well as leaving those areas and also sections of Parklands. Coming to the city center, you could still use that as your alternative route this morning. So the same roundabout, still nothing is changing there, the same as how it was when we began looking at it. Heavy traffic, particularly on sections as you branch off to Kirinyaga Road as well as Tomboya and Moi Avenue. On the other side, as you head over to areas of Kipande Road and Westlands, moving at a very swift pace. So again, for our viewers coming from those areas, this is just the best time for you to be leaving your houses if you intend to do that. And if you're on the road, still a good time for you because there's barely any kind of heavy traffic there. On the other side of Parklands, that is Ojiji Road, on that section, heavy kind of traffic. Again, around this roundabout is where there's a bit of road reconstruction or construction altogether, just again to make it easy for residents along these areas of Parklands, just like areas of Westlands. So clearly also one of those routes or areas where there's a lot of businesses and industry. So that this is also part of what necessitates most of what you see on our roads when it comes to expansion, reconstruction, rehabilitation altogether. So aside from just easing traffic congestion, is at least to also make it easy for most of these businesses and companies along this route. Coming back to the traffic flow, that is how the Ojiji Road is looking like as you head over to areas of Parklands on that section. Heavy kind of traffic. On the other side, moving at a very, very swift pace. So that is how it is looking like this morning in terms of traffic on the roads. Our focus has just been keenly on what is happening along Kirinyaga, Kipande, as well as Ojiji Road. Right now, I want to cross over to the other side where my colleague Rashid Mamkondo is having a candid conversation with the Ragwa MP, Kioni. Over to you.
Ambaye unafungulia radio background yake nzima, huyu sasa hivi ndiye ambaye ni katibu mkuu wa Jubilee. Baada ya Rafael Tuju kujiuzulu, basi mamlaka hayo amepatiwa yeye. Na ni kitu kikubwa manake sasa hivi Kenya nzima inamwangazia yeye. Watu wanataka kujua Rafael Tuju ilikuwa namna gani mpaka akapatiwa huyu. Na huyu mbona akaikibeba kile kiti kwa mikono miwili na amefurahi, mpaka sasa namuona anatabasamu kubwa kabisa kwa kukipokea kile kiti. Manake sasa hivi Jubilee kila mmoja, it's the talk of town. Kila mmoja anazungumzia Jubilee.
Alright, msikilizaji, kumbuka Jubilee Party ni chama tawala nchini Kenya kilichobuniwa Septemba 8 mwaka 2016 kufuatia kuunganishwa kwa vyama 11 vikiwemo TNA na URP. URP ilikuwa kwa naibu rais William Ruto na TNA ilikuwa ni chake Uhuru Kenyatta. Na sasa wengi wanauliza kulikuwaje, kukawaje? Haya yote 9-10. Msikilizaji, mheshimiwa yuko ndani, na bila kupoteza nukta wala sekunde, msikilizaji, kumbuka kipindi hiki kiko moja kwa moja kupitia runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1 kwenye kipindi Good Morning Kenya. Tunazungumzia watu na siasa, na hivi karibuni ni kwamba tuko naye ndani ya studio.
Kwanza nitaanza kwa pongezi sana mheshimiwa Kioni kwa uzinduzi mpya na uteuzi wako kama katibu mkuu wa chama hiki kipya cha chama cha Jubilee. Je, ni kitu gani unahisi kimempelekea wewe kuteuliwa katika wadhifa huo?
La kwanza pia nichukue nafasi hii kumshukuru Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kwa kunipa nafasi kuwa Secretary General wa chama cha Jubilee. Ni jukumu ambalo sio rahisi, lakini ni jukumu ambalo tutalitekeleza kwa njia zozote zile ambazo tutaweza, na tunaomba pia Mwenyezi Mungu atupe hiyo uwezo na hekima. Chama cha Jubilee ni kimekuwa katika ama Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kama mwanasiasa kiongozi amekuwa kiongozi wa serikali tangu 2013, head of state and government kuanzia 2013, na kuna mambo mengi ambayo amefanya. Wakati ule kulikuwa kuna TNA na TNA ndio hiyo kama vile umesema 2017 2016 ikawa tumekuja na chama cha Jubilee, na kuna yale masaibu mengi ambayo tumeyapitia, lakini la muhimu ni kwamba tulipomaliza uchaguzi wa 2017 rais mwenyewe alituita State House na akasema kwamba hataki mambo ya siasa, anataka kutenda kazi, kufanya kazi ambayo ama kutimiza yale ambao aliyewaahidi wa Kenya alipokuwa anatafuta kura, na akatuambia vizuri ya kwamba siku ya kupiga siasa yeye mwenyewe ataisema mwaka wa 5, na mwaka wa 5 ndio huu. Kwa hivyo sasa kama wana Jubilee wengine hawakufurahia lile jambo, waliingia siasa mara moja na wamekuwa katika siasa tangu 2017 mpaka wa leo. Lakini sasa wale ambao wamekuwa walimsikiza rais na wakamtii ama wakati lile alituambia, imefika wakati wetu wa kutembea na kuambia Wakenya tulikuwa tumekimya kwa nini. Kwa sababu wengine wanafikiri kwamba kupimia kwetu ni kama wanasema tulikuwa ama chama kimekufa, lakini ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba wakati huo tulikuwa tunafanya kazi. Kuna miradi mingi Kenya nzima, every corner of this country ambayo imetimizwa na chama cha Jubilee, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta mwenyewe akiwa kiongozi wa chama cha Jubilee. Na sasa ikafika wakati ni lazima tufanye NDC ili tuweze kuingia katika hii round ya kumalizia mkondo wa 5 years na pia kuingia siasa za 2022 na kwenda mbele, na kwa sababu nyingi ambazo na pia maono yake, his vision and focus, lazima pia chama kiwe na kufikiria, ama lazima tufikirie kama wanachama serikali ijayo tutakuwa kwa JP. Mambo ambayo yalikuwa yameanzishwa na chama cha Jubilee yatamalizika na ipi na jia gani kwenda 2022 and beyond. Vision yake itabebwa na jia gani 2022, 2027, 2032, kwa sababu chama hiki ni chama ina yale mambo ambayo kimeanzisha, sio mambo ambayo itakwisha kwa sababu chama kimetoka usukani. Na pia ni vizuri kujua kwamba kinyume na vile President Kibaki alifanya, kwamba rais mwenyewe hataki kuwa kwa serikali, lakini anataka kuwa katika mambo ya chama, kwa sababu kuna yale chama yamekuwa inaamini imeanzisha. Kwa hivyo yeye pia angetaka kuona ya kwamba hayo pia yanatekelezwa na chama.
Shikilia hapo msikilizaji, hii Sauti Mkenya, na vile vile kipindi hiki kiko moja kwa moja kwenye kipindi Good Morning Kenya kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1 kwa sasa, ambapo msikilizaji unaweza kutweet @KBC Channel 1 @Radio Taifa FM @Mwajuma Chozi @Mkondo. Kumbuka hashtag ni Zinga na hashtag vile vile pia ni Good Morning Kenya, na studio tuko naye Mheshimiwa Jeremiah Kioni, katibu mkuu wa chama cha Jubilee. Nikirudi kwako Mheshimiwa Kioni, chama hichi kilizinduliwa upya na mambo mengi mapya. Tuliona njiwa amebeba jani. Je, inamaanisha nini? Wajua tulikuwa tumezoea ile alama ya mkono hivi. Sasa ile alama ya mkono mmeiondoa na sasa kuna njiwa na amebeba jani. Hebu tuelezee hii taswira iko vipi?
2013 tulikuwa pamoja na URP, TNA na URP, na vyama vikakuja pamoja, na inaonekana kama wengi wa mlengo wa URP ndio walijiondoa, wameunda chama chao kipya, na wale ambao wamebaki ni wengi ambao walikuwa katika TNA na vyama vingine, karibu vyama vyote vile vingine vidogo ambao walitengeneza chama 2017 wamebaki katika ama kule Jubilee. Na kama wale ambao walikuwa waliondoka na tukaona wameanzisha Karampian, Yeru na mambo kama hayo. Kwa hivyo ingekuwa tu ni jambo tu na busara kufikiria kwenda mbele, utataka namna gani mgogoro, ama ni vizuri ufikirie kwamba yale tungetaka kutekeleza kwa ni mengi na muhimu kuliko mambo ya mfutano. Na wanachama wakakaa chini na wakaona ni lipi ambalo tunatakana kuangazia kwenda mbele. Na hii mambo ya DAF is a symbol of peace. Is a symbol of peace. Kwenda mbele tunatafuta amani, na unajua mkono ambao tulipatiwa na former prime minister Raila Amolo Odinga 2017 ulikuwa mkono wa amani na wa baraka. nimekubali sawa, machungu yako, lakini nimekubali, endelea serikali kwa njia ya amani. Huo mkono umetupa amani kwa hiyo miaka 4.5 ambayo imetuwezesha kutekeleza mengi. 2013 pia ukumbuke ule mkono pia wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na William Ruto pia ulikuwa mkono wa amani, kwa sababu tulikuwa tumetoka katika hali nzito 2017 2007 kuja mpaka 2008 2009 ndio mpaka maneno ya ICC. Kwa hivyo pia kulikuwa na haja ya mkono wa amani 2013. Ukiangalia pale mbele 2007 pia Mwai Kibaki na Raila Amolo Odinga pia walipata mambo ya mkono wa amani. Kwa hivyo jambo la amani, na hii ni jambo ya kuhakikisha kwamba umeenda kwa mwenzako, ama kama hata tumekuwa katika hali ya uchaguzi, mambo migogoro, mambo mazito, kampeni sio rahisi, mambo ya amani ndio ya muhimu. Na sisi kama wana Jubilee tungetaka kwenda mbele kwa njia ya amani na kuhakikisha kwamba hata tunapofanya mambo ya siasa, tunapofanya hii mambo yote, tuachane na mambo mengi, tutafute amani, kwa sababu bila amani hata kama umeshinda, bila amani hamna lolote utatimiza. Kwa hivyo na sisi ukituona tunataka amani. Rais juzi ametuita pale State House kama viongozi wa Jubilee na akatuambia kwamba tuhakikisha kwamba watu wetu wote hawana mambo matusi wanapotafuta kula. Hatutaki matusi, hatutaki kudunisha wale wengine na njia ambayo isiyofaa, kwa sababu hilo ni jambo la maana. Kwa hivyo na pia ukikumbuka kwamba tunaita nini Noah,
safina ya Noah,
safina pia ikakuwa chama hapa, lakini safina ya Noah ile dafa alienda kule na akakuja kusema kuko sawa. Tunasema pia tunakoenda tukiwa na amani na tukifuata hii mkondo ama hii lady tumepatiwa na Jubilee, mkono wa Raila Amolo Odinga na mkono wa Uhuru Kenyatta, mbele tutakuwa sawa na tutakuwa pamoja.
Na msikilizaji, naona kwamba dakika zimesalia 3 twende, lakini tungependa kujua tu, baada ya naibu rais William Ruto kutoka chama cha Jubilee, ni kama kilikuwa kimeporomoka kidogo, na ikawa watu wanazungumza masuala mengi tu, maneno mengi ya kwamba Jubilee hivi. Je, nyinyi mnalizungumziaje swala hili?
Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba kama nimesema ni kwamba rais mwenyewe alituita pamoja na deputy president kule State House na akatuuliza kwa heshima kuhakikisha kwamba tumeenda kufanya kazi na tuache mambo ya siasa. Mwaka 5 ukifika ataingia siasa, na wakati ule akaahidi ya kwamba mimi mwenyewe nitakuwa nikiongoza siasa ya naibu wangu, lakini mimi nawaomba munipe nafasi nitende kazi ama niwatimizie wa Kenya yale ambayo niliwaahidi nilipokuwa naomba kula. Lakini pale ni kama siku following day ni kama rais mwenyewe ama deputy president mwenyewe aliona ya kwamba yale sio, haikuwa ya mambo ya kufuata, na hakufuata hata kidogo, kwa sababu alifanya nini? Alifanya kuanzisha siasa mara moja ya kuzunguka Kenya mzima, na akatengeneza chama chake cha UDA.
Yani alianza siasa yake
mapema zaidi ya mapema. Jambo lazima ulichunga sana kwa siasa, kwa sababu ukianza siasa yako mapema zaidi ya mapema, utafika pahali watu wamekuzoea, hamna mapya unasema, ni yale ulituagiza miaka 10 iliyopita, mpaka wanaona kama sasa mambo unayosema ni ya msaha ama unasema kwa msaha. Kwa hivyo alijiondoa na akaanza chama chake cha UDA mapema sana, lakini kwa sababu rais hakutaka mambo ya tena kuleta migogoro katika siasa zetu na uongozi wa Kenya, akasema mimi sina shaka, mtu aende aseme yale anataka, aende pale anataka, kuna sheria ambayo inaweza ikafuatwa na tuwaondoe wale ambao wamesema hawako katika chama cha Jubilee, lakini hiyo haina maana kwa Kenya. Na ndio akasema waendelee tu na yao mpaka wakati ufike kusema kwamba sasa tuko na nafasi ya siasa, tutengeneze nyumba yetu sawa sawa na tuweze kwenda mbele. Na vile tulifanya ni kwamba ni kuhakikisha kwamba wale wameondoka tumewapa nafasi ya kuondoka, wale wamebaki tutengeneze chama chetu cha Jubilee na wao kuboresha, kuhafagia na alafu kwenda kuambia Wakenya tumekuwa tukifanya nini. Kwa nini tulikuwa hatusemi wale ambao wengine walipokuwa nasema mambo ambayo haikuwa ya ukweli, mambo ambayo ilikuwa ya propaganda, nyakati zote. Na sasa ndio umetuona jana tumekuwa kule Nyeri na watu wanashangaa. Ukiwaambia ukweli wa mambo, watu wanashangaa. Na nakwambia kufika mwezi wa 5 haya mambo itakuwa tofauti kabisa, kwa sababu chama cha Jubilee hakikuwa kimeenda kokote. Ni vile tu tulikuwa lazima lazima mpange. Nakumbuka wakati deputy president walikuwa kule Kasarani 2017 hapo ama 2016 akisema ati NASA they are planless, ladderless, leaderless, directionless. Nakumbuka haya mambo kama watatu. Na haya mambo sasa ni kama yale ndio aliyabemba akaiweka na akaiweka kwa roho yake. Na sasa ni kama vile unakuta sisi katika Jubilee ni kweli tulikuwa na plan, tulikuwa na leader, tulikuwa kwenye rada na tulikuwa tunajua tunaenda wapi. Lakini yeye kidogo akapiga kando akaenda direction nyingine hatuielewi. Sasa tumerudi kwa Kenya kuambia ile plan tulikuwa nayo ndio hiyo, tumetimiza haya, direction tulikuwa tunaenda ndio hii, tumefika hapa. Na direction tunataka kwenda ndio hii kupitia njia ya Azimio. Mambo ya rada bado tuko kwa rada, haya mambo yote. Kwa hivyo na hatutaki ati mambo tungetaka kule bugeni tukiwa na usaidizi wa Azimio, watu wa Azimio ama wale wa ODM na wengine Wiper na wengine, tungeleta mambo ya impeachment, mambo ya kuwatoa wale wabunge ambao walienda kinyume ya sheria, kwa sababu sheria inasema hauwezi kuanza kueneza ama kuendeleza siasa ama ideology ya chama kingine kama wewe bado ugali mwanachama wa chama kilichokupeleka bungeni. Ukionekana ukifana ni ile unatakana kuacha ubunge au kiti cha ubunge uende kwa wale walikuchagua waambie tangu mliponichagua nimeona kwamba mwelekeo, mwenendo na uongozi wa Jubilee hauko sababa na yale ambao tulisema. Na kwa sababu hiyo nimeacha hiyo kiti, nimejihusuru, nimekuja kuomba kiti kupitia chama cha UDA kama chama kingine chochote kile unaona kinafaa. Hamna yote alifanya vile. Lakini sisi pia tulikuwa na uwezo wa kukaa kama chama na kusema hawa mara moja nje, nendeni by election. Lakini tungekuwa tumeletea Kenya nzima furugu, mambo haina forojo, mambo haina maana, siasa ambayo haigeturuhusu tuyatekeleze mambo ambayo tumeyatekeleza kama Jubilee.
Shukili hapo mheshimiwa msikilizaji, kumbuka hii ni KBC Radio Taifa. 7 dakika zimesalia kuweza kutimia saa 3 kamili. Kama tulivyokuambia awali ya yote ni kwamba kipindi hiki chozo unakipokea kupitia redio na unakitazama kupitia
TV vile runinga kupitia Good Morning Kenya.
Bila shaka msikilizaji, kumbuka upande wa runinga tuko nao wenzetu Ray Manyara, yuko Jen na yuko vile Dorin. Na upande wetu wa Radio Taifa yuko Chozi la Almasi.
Niite Mwajuma Ali.
Na mimi naitwa Rashid Mwamkondo. Mwelekezi wetu anatuambia tupate pumziko fupi, tutakaporudi maswali zaidi, lakini kwa sasa msikilize Chikuze anasema penzi la wivu.
Sisi hatuna haja na yeye. Haja yetu ni mama yake.
Watakutupa jani kama taka wewe.
Hivi ndivyo utakavyokuwa ukinikaribisha kila siku.
Nikisimama hapa namuona kombo tu, wewe sikuoni.
Zari hakustahili kuwa hai kabisa.
Mimi niko sawa.
Nataka nini mama?
nilivyokupenda chozi. Mwingine sitaona chozi.
Unafanya mheshimiwa furahi. Msikilizaji, kama ndio unafungulia radio ya kwako leo hii, Gumzo Pevu iko ndani ya awamu yetu ya 3, na ni kwa sababu leo ni special zaidi. Yaani kwa mara ya kwanza KBC Radio Taifa pamoja na Good Morning Kenya TV runinga hiyo ya KBC tunapeperusha live. Tuko naye mgeni mpya kabisa ndani ya Jubilee, Secretary General, yani katibu mkuu wa Jubilee. Karibu sana kwa yule ambaye anafungulia radio ya kwake. Tunaye Jeremiah Kiuni ndani ya nyumba, au sio?
Alright, msikilizaji, kumbuka leo kuna ni kwamba unatusikiliza kupitia KBC Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya, na wakati huo tunakuomba ukodoe macho yako kodo kwenye runinga ya kitaifa ya KBC channel. Tumekwambia hashtag ni mbili, cheza na hashtag ya Zinga, alafu vile pia cheza na hashtag ya Good Morning Kenya. Mimi hapa ni Rashid, mwenzangu ni Chozi, upande wa pili wa studio tuko naye Doreen, tuko naye Jen, na tuko naye Regina Manyara. Turudi ndani. Msikilizaji, studioni tuko naye mbunge wa Daragu aliyepia katibu mkuu mpya wa chama cha Jubilee Party of Kenya, Mheshimiwa Jeremiah Kioni. Tukirudi kwa Mheshimiwa Jeremiah Kioni, Jubilee kupitia Rais Uhuru Kenyatta juzi katika NDC ama kongamano la wajumbe la ODM pale Kasarani, alisema kwamba Jubilee imo ndani ya muungano wa Azimio. Je, nia yenu ya kujiunga na Azimio ni ipi Mheshimiwa?
Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba ni vizuri usisahau pale tulitoka. Ya kwamba 2017 tumefanya uchaguzi na kukakuwa na mgogoro. Rais ameapishwa kule Kasarani kupitia kama vile katiba imesema, na rafiki yetu muda kidogo, siku chache baadaye, tear gas barabarani. So, ilikuwa tear gas Monday ama tear gas Tuesday?
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday. Tumesuzia Safaricom, hata tukuli mafuta sijui ya Bidco, watu mambo mengi kama yale yakafuatia. Na hayo wengine walikuwa ungeangalia ufikirie ni mchezo ama sarakasi, lakini yalikuwa mambo mazito sana, kwa sababu akaona ni vizuri pia apige aende one notch higher. Akaenda kule Uhuru Park na akaapishwa kama rais wa I think People's President. Rafiki yangu TJ Kajwang alikuwa chief justice wa leo. Mimi huita the fake chief justice. Alikuwa pale na ukali mwingi sana. Na pale ilikuwa sasa uangalie viongozi ambao wanaelewa dunia ama nchi ni nini. Na wale ambao walikuwa karibu na Rais Uhuru walikuwa wanamwambia, kwa nini ungojee mtu aende afanye jambo kama lile, na sisi wengine tuliita treason. Na tukasema kwamba jambo ambalo linatakana kufanyika ni wanajeshi kutumwa uwajani na kuwafuruga Wakenya. Lakini ukumbuke ya kwamba tumepiga kula kulikuwa na matatizo ya kusema nani alikuwa na wingi, nani alikuwa na nyingi, mwingine alikuwa nani alikuwa zake asikutosha. Na lakini tofauti ilikuwa kidogo, ni kama 48-52%. Na ukiona kula imepigwa vile, lazima ujue ya kwamba Kenya ni kama imekatika katikati. Hata ukitaka kusema ulishida nini na 2%, ni kweli ulishida, wewe ndio mshindi, uko na umepatiwa uwezo wa kukalia kiti pale na uwaongoze wa Kenya. Lakini usipopata kufikiria ya kwamba kuna nusu ya Wakenya walikuwa wamempendekeza mwingine na upuuze lile jambo, wewe sio kiongozi. Kwa hivyo pale ndio Uhuru alimuita, na alimwambia naibu wake, akampigia simu naibu wake akamwambia kufika pale Kenya imefika, lazima nataka kukuuliza kama ni unaonaje wewe. Mimi naona ni vizuri tumfikie former prime minister Raila Amolo Odinga, kwa sababu tusipoangafanya vile hii Kenya inaenda wapi? Sisi tuko sawa, kama vile alisema kule Kasarani, tuko sawa. Pale nje niko na bodyguard, nikiingia kwa gari niko na bodyguard, kwa gate niko na askari deko wako pale, wamefunzwa kupiga watu risasi mwenye yote anapaleta nyoko. Wale wa Kenya kule nje kama vile alisema, wenye kiosk, wenye maduka, wenye wako kwa matatu, wenye wako kwa KBC kama vile hapa tulivyo sasa, wao wanapata hiyo security wapi? Hii shida ambayo inakuja, wao ndio wataumia zaidi. Na kwa sababu yao lazima tufikie huyu ndugu yetu. Na wakakubaliana, na ndio akampigia na akamtafuta kupitia zile njia alitumia, wakawa pamoja na former prime minister. Na la muhimu ni kwamba waliketi wakaongea wakazungumza mengi, lakini Rais Uhuru alimwambia former Prime Minister, mimi tumekuwa na mazungumzo, we have an agreement with the Deputy President, na tumeadikiana, nimempa serikali nusu, mimi niko na nusu. Kwa hivyo usije ukaniuliza serikali yoyote, kwa sababu sina nafasi ya kukupa chochote kwa serikali ile imekwisha. Mimi nataka kujua wewe mapenzi yako kwa Kenya, mapenzi yangu kwa Kenya. Naye Prime Minister akamwambia, hata mimi sina haja na serikali, lakini niko na haja na umoja wa Kenya, amani ya Wakenya. Lakini lazima pia tujiulize, ni mambo gani haya yanafanya sisi kila baada ya uchaguzi tupigane? Kwa nini kunakuwa na migogoro kiasi hii? Ni kwa sababu naona ukinishida ni kama mimi nimewekwa nje kabisa ya dunia kwa miaka mitano. Na ndio mambo ya inclusivity ikaanza, mambo ya kuangalia watu wanapata representation ikaanza, wakazungumzia pale, na pia sharing of national cake resources ikaanza pale, kwa sababu kuna mazungumzo mengi ama maneno mengi ambayo watu wamesema wakiona kama hao wanapata nyingi kuliko wale. Hayo mambo walipoyazungumzia na wakakubaliana, kube haya iko kwa kichwa chako kama ilivyo kwa kichwa changu. Tuweke tume pamoja, waanze kuangalia haya mambo, walete mapendekezo na wasuguke Kenya mzima. BBI ikazaliwa pale. Na sasa mambo yamezungumziwa, yamekuja bugeni, yamepelekwa county assembly, wana Kenya wamepatia signature, imefika pahali ilikuwa iende kwa referendum, lakini kwa sababu wengine wakaenda kotini, ikasimamishwa na koti. Azimio ni kusema nini? Ni kusema ya kwamba we know, tunajua zile shida ambazo ama yale maneno yanatuletea shida Kenya hii. Na lazima tukubaliane ya kwamba hatuwezi, hata kama sikupendi, kuna mambo ambayo lazima yako na shida, lazima yatatuliwe kama tunataka Kenya iwe a nation. Na hii ni kusema mimi nimeamua ya kwamba nitaleta ile yote ambayo niko na uwezo yake niko na uwezo niweze kuleta umoja huo. Sio tuwe kitu kimoja, lakini tuwe na umoja. Hatuwezi tukakuwa kitu kimoja, lakini tunaweza kuwa na umoja Kenya. Kwa hivyo hii azimio unaona ni declaration ambayo imetoka huko 2017 na imekuja tukusema ya kwamba kwenda mbele yale tumekubaliana kuyatatua hatutayasahau, kwa sababu uchaguzi umekuja. Tutayatatua kwa sababu kwenda mbele tusipoyatatua hatuna na nation inaitwa Kenya. Kwa hivyo ni nani hawa ambao wanakubali? Kwa hivyo hii mambo ya Kenya moja, sijui One Kenya Alliance, Kenya kwanza, hayo kweli tunakubaliana. Kenya ni kwanza Kenya ni kwanza. First tunasema nini?
Kenya kwanza.
Kwa kizungu ni Kenya first. Na tunasema Kenya moja kwa sababu Kenya ni moja. Lakini umoja ndio hatuna umoja. Tuko hapa lakini hatuna umoja. This is a declaration of unity. Na yale mambo ambayo tunaweza tukayatenda, tukayarekebisha, tuweze kupata hiyo unity. Na tuhakikisha kwamba uchaguzi unapofanywa, mtu fulani akishida sio kusema wale wengine wameshidwa na wamepotelea, bali ni mambo ya kusema ni wewe umepatiwa nafasi ya to preside. You are sitting at the head of the table. We are all there. You are only presiding. And it is for a while before we get another person. Hayo ndio mambo ambayo yamemweka Uhuru na Raila pamoja. Na ndio imefanya chama cha Jubilee na ODM watengeneze hili jambo na mambo ya azimio. Na tunataka tunawaalika wale wengine wote wakuje tuwe katika azimio pamoja. Na haikuwa tuache fulani akae nje ya serikali. Ni mtu ameamua kujitoa kwa serikali. Na ni mtu na mambo ambayo anazungumzia angetaka yatendeke hayabatani pamoja na yale na yale ambayo yako ndani ya azimio, wala hayabatani na ile handshake ya 2017. Kwa sababu ni mimi ningetaka kiongozi yoyote yule Kenya, yoyote yule ambaye amekuwa amekoma, ama wale ambao wanakuja wageni miaka 20 na young leaders ambao wanakuja, waniambie makosa iko wapi, mimi kukusalimia ili kazi ifanyike Kenya.
Labda tukija kwenye kuna swala fulani hivi, je, kama chama tanzu ndani ya azimio mungekuwa na mgombeanaji wenu kumenyana na Odinga, je, ingekuwa namna gani? Ama hamjapata mtu ndani ya Jubilee ambaye anaweza akamenyana na Raila Odinga?
Ni kwa nini unataka tupate mtu amenyane na Raila Odinga?
Si mheshimiwa umesema kwamba Azimio
unaelewa
ni muungano
naendelea na hapo ndio mambo yako kwa sababu ni tunasema lazima tupate mtu wetu angangane na fulani kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu tunaogopa hili na hili na lile na kama umelitatua lile na lile na lile ambao linakuweka uoga huyu akichukua kiti, sasa haina maana ya lazima kuwe na mtu kutoka kwenyu, lazima nani awe ndio mgombeaji. Ni kusema ya kwamba huyu ndio kiongozi wa Kenya. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo ya udani zaidi ambayo rais mwenyewe ukimwangalia utaona yeye na Raila wako na mambo ya udani, iko ndani zaidi, deep, very deep. Mambo hiyo naona ya handshake. Na nataka kusema kwamba mimi kama mkaaji wa Daragwa, mkaaji wa Mount Kenya, mambo mawili ambayo mimi nataka kuyaona katika serikali ijayo. Mambo mawili nikitaka kuona katika, sio katika kiti cha urais, katika serikali ijayo. Ni kujua kwamba kama tuko na wingi wa watu, tuko na wingi wa wabunge. Kama tuko na wingi wa watu, kila mtu anapata ile shilingi ambayo inapatiwa mtu kutoka Garissa, kutoka Lamu, kutoka Kwale, kutoka Gariama. Kila Mkenya akiwa Gariama anapata 1 shilling, Mkenya akiwa Daragwa anapata 1 shilling. Haya mambo tukiangalia na njia lile. Na alafu katika ile meza, Raila akikaa pale, ako na timu yake ambayo imetoka kila kupembe ya kona hii. Na unajua kwamba he is presiding na matakwa yenyu imefikishwa kwa meza ambayo inafaa. Hayo ndio mambo ambayo tunataka yatimizwe. Na nataka kusema hivi. Tunapoingia katika Azimio, kwa sababu hatukuweza kuyapitisha kwa sheria kupitia mambo ya BBI. Letu la kwanza ni kuhakikisha kwamba yale ambao tulikuwa tumekubaliana kwa BBI yametekelezwa na imewekwa kwa sheria. Na mtu mwenye anaweza fanya yale ni mwenye alikuwa ameamini katika hii program ama mpangilio ambao walipata 2017. Mtu mwingine mgeni akija atasema wachane na hii maneno, wachana na hawa. Hata anaweza sema pubavu hawa. Lakini bila hayo kuwekwa kwa sheria, kwa katiba, kwa sababu ni sheria, katiba na policy. Bila yale kuwekwa katika katiba, sheria na policy, bado 2022 shida, 2027 shida, 2032 shida. Uongozi wa maana ya uongozi ni nini? Kama unakalia kiti, unajua lile linaweza kukusaidia suluhisho ya shida tunazo. Uko na uwezo wa kuleta hizo suluhisho na muda wako umeutumia tena kutembea Kenya mzima ukileta tu forojo, mambo haina maana na ufumi uongo. Hayo ndio tunasema kwamba hatutaki kwenda mbele nayo katika Azimio. Na hiyo ndio kwa sababu tuko katika Azimio. Na pia juzi tumemwona aliyekuwa vice president hapo zamani, leader wa Wiper, alikuja na akasema angetaka kuwa katika Azimio. Hayo ni mazungumzo, ilifika pahali ambayo tumefurahia na tuko na furaha kuwa pamoja na yeye, na tunaamini ya kwamba tutaenda pamoja mpaka wakati wa uchaguzi. Ili pia wakati tunapiga kura hatutaki mambo ya 48-52. Yoyote yule atashinda na 48-52 hata kuwa na furaha ama kusikia kwamba ako na mandate nzuri. Wale ambao wako na 48 wanasikia kwamba kweli ni 48 ama ni kuibiwa tu, tuliibiwa. Lakini kama ni 30-70, 40-60, sasa Kenya inaenda mbele. Unakumbuka katiba ya 2010 tulipata 67% of Kenyans said yes. Na mpaka wale hamna mtu anasema kwamba katiba haikupita. Kwa hivyo there is a percentage ambayo ukiipata ukiwa kiongozi inakupa uwezo. Lakini pia tunataka ukipata hiyo advantage ama hiyo percentage, usije ukapatiwa kiburi hivi kwamba umewasahau tengine wote na umewakanyanga. Ndio tunasema mambo ya inclusivity. You have been given the right to preside over that table. Wewe unakaa pale mbele ya meza, wengine wanakuja na hivi karibuni hata tutasema sio pale at the head of the table, tutakuwa tunakaa katika meza mfiringo. But you are the one presiding.
Okay, msikilizaji, hii ni KBC Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya, kipindi hewani. Hiyo pia unatazama kipindi hiki kupitia runinga yako ya kitaifa KBC Channel 1 kwenye kipindi Good Morning Kenya. Upande wa radio uko na Rashid Machozi, upande wa runinga uko na Ray, na vile vile pia uko naye Doreen na uko naye Jen. Tumebakisha dakika 8 tu tumalize kipindi. Msikilizaji, pengine kama ungependa kumuuliza swali mheshimiwa, nambari zetu za simu ziko wazi.
Tupata vizuri kupitia 07001766 699. Kwa wale ambao wanafurika kwenye Twitter unatupata @Mwajumachozi, @Mwamkondo, @Radio Taifa, hashtag ikiwa ni Zinga, hashtag ikiwa ni Good Morning Kenya, na kwa wale ambao wako kwenye Facebook pia utakuwa unatupata vizuri kwenye KBC Radio Taifa.
Alright, tutachukua simu 2-3 hapa tusikilize wana maoni gani. Hello Zinga.
Jambo.
Hatujambo.
Wewe ni Lucas niko hapa Dandora na waona.
Asante, karibu.
Mimi nauliza hivi ndugu yangu.
Yes.
Kuna siku watu wa ODM na Jubilee wanakutana Kasarani kipindi cha nyuma kidogo, na wakaongea mambo mengi, wakasema ile yote tulikuwa tunaongea kipindi cha nyuma kuhusu Raila ni uongo mtupu. Juzi tena rais mwenyewe akatamka akasema Kenya tulikuwa tunaongea kuna zingine ya ukweli na uongo. Sasa hii mheshimiwa anaongea siku ya leo, ndugu zangu, si bado ni uongo bado?
Okay, shikilia hapo Lucas kutoka Dandora. Hello Radio Taifa.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Hamjambo.
Hatujambo.
Huyu ni kamanda kutoka mtu.
Karibu sana.
Nataka kuuliza mheshimiwa hapo.
Yes.
Katika handshake ambapo anasema alialika naibu wa rais. Kwa nini hakualika wale wengine ambapo walikuwa katika ODM? Na katika ile siasa ilikuwako, walikuwa pamoja akina Musalia, akina Karonzo, na wale watu wako na watu wao ama wafuazi wao.
Okay, swali lako tumeelewa. Mheshimiwa, simu zetu ni nyingi, lakini tukianza kuzishika zote muda wetu utatupiga chenga. Labda tu respond kwa maswali ambayo yameulizwa kwa sasa.
Nitaanza na hili la pili kwa sababu linasaidia sana. Jambo la kwanza nilisema si kusema alimwalika. Hakumwalika, alimfahamisha. Na ilikuwa jukumu lake kufahamisha deputy wake. Raila alikuwa na jukumu lake kufahamisha wale wengine ambao walikuwa wameshirikiana na wao. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri kufafanua hawa ama kuliweka wazi. La pili ni kwamba unapoenda mazungumzo wao Dova kutafuta amani, lazima kunafika wakati unasema hebu tuwafungie hawa wawili kwa ofisi. Tafadhali mnapotoka tuambieni yale mmekubaliana. Ilifanywa vile vile hapa Kenya 2007 kati ya Raila na Kibaki. Kofi Annan amekuja hapa, ameingia State House, ameingia hapa Office of the President, ofisi ya Kibaki, ameingia pale na wako pale. Amekaa pale akizungumza ama akiwasaidia kuzungumza. Na ikafika wakati akasema, Your Excellency, I want to excuse myself. Nataka kanyanga nje, niwaache wawili msungumze. Kwa hivyo usije ukafikiria amani ni kitu rahisi. Na wale ambao wameamua kupata amani lazima tuwape hongera. Kwa vyovyote vile kuangalia nyuma na kusema kwamba hii ingekuwa hivi, angalia mambo ya South Africa. Nelson Mandela amefungwa miaka 27. Kuna wengi ambao walikasirika kwamba amekubali kuwasemea wazungu na kwenda mbele. Lakini kama angefanya vile alifanya, South Africa ingekuwa inatuongoza katika mambo yote ya uchumi, siasa, sports, kila kitu. Walikuja tu 15 years ago or less or more, na leo they are always the first in Africa kwa kila kitu. Na ni kwa sababu jamaa anaitwa Nelson Mandela alisema nitasahau uchungu mambo ambayo umesema ya uongo juu yangu, naye de Klerk akasema hata sisi tumekubali kusahau, tunaenda mbele. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wanasema kwa nini tusikubali ama hata sasa si tunaongea uongo mambo, wacha hiyo mambo ya Said Mira. Huwezi endesha Kenya ukiangalia Said Mira. Kama wanaume wenyewe ambao walikuwa wanarushiana maneno makali, wamekuja pale wamesema nimekusamehe, na mwingine anasema pia nimekusamehe na twende mbele. Wewe pilipili usio ile inakuacha nini? Wewe kubali twende mbele. Alright. Kwa hivyo mambo ya handshake nilisema alimfahamisha, alimuinform naibu wake. Na mimi mwenyewe na sitaki kuleta mambo yangu katika discussion serious kama hii. Nilipata nafasi pia ya kumuuliza naibu. Na nimpigia simu siku moja jioni. Mwambie mimi kama kiongozi kutoka Mount Kenya, nimesikia yale umekuwa ukisema, na mimi ningetaka unipe nafasi kidogo tu nikuzungumzie kwa heshima yako. Na a gentleman he is, he allowed me to go kwenda kwa ofisi yake. Nimuuliza haya maswali. Rais alikuambia? Akaniambia kwa mdomo yake. Aliniambia hata kabla ya kwenda, alinizungumzia mambo 9 ambayo yaliandikwa, tulikuwa tumekubaliana na yeye. Walipomaliza hata kabla ya kuja kwa steps, aliniambia Sasa kweli umeniambia, na kwa nini basi unaenda? Sikumuuliza lile, lakini nikajiuliza, na kwa nini basi deputy anaenda kusimama kule kusema hakuyo kujua, kwa sababu jambo linaanza kuleta utata. Unaona, hii jambo linaleta utata kwa Kenya, na unaanza kufikiria inaweza kuwa kweli rais anaweza fanya jambo kama hili na simwambie mwenzake, na yeye mwenyewe kwa chake. Mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa kwa ofisi yake asubuhi mapema wakati kama huu. Kwa hivyo naelewa kidogo, hata ingawa sikutaka kwenda zaidi ya hiyo, kwa sababu siko katika urais. Mimi ni mbunge tu wa Daragwa, na hayo mambo tu nilikuwa naona kama kiongozi, na ninajua kwamba itafika pahali na mtu atukemee kama watu kutoka Mount Kenya ati tulifanya hatukufanya ili kwako. Lakini nilifurahia kujua kwamba rais amefanya lile mtu yoyote anatakana ama unaweza fikiria afanye. Kwa mambo ya handshake usijaribu kamwe kusema ya kwamba ilifanyika vibaya ama matokeo ni mabaya. Hili ni jambo wajukuu si ni wale watakuja nyuma na nyuma. Watarifurahia, and they look at the president and the deputy president and his colleague Raila Amolo Odinga as Kenyans, and watu ambao wametupa mwelekeo wa vile tunatakana kufanya kazi.
Mheshimiwa, naona muda wetu haunasi, labda tu tukuulize swali moja la mwisho kabla kukuachilia kwenda kwenye shughuli nyingine. Je, unadhani ni kitu gani ambacho kinafaa kifanywe kuimarisha vyama vya kisiasa humu nchini?
Jambo la kwanza ni vizuri wawezeshwe, kwa sababu vyama vingi vinategemea mfuko ya viongozi wale wa vyama, na huo mfuko, pesa za mfuko ya mtu ni pesa kidogo. Katika katiba tulipitisha ile tunaita political party fund, na ni vizuri watu wenye vyama hata ikiwa chama ni kidogo na JIP, kama ni chama ambacho kimetimiza yale ambayo tumeweka kwa katiba sasa ama kwa sheria, ni vizuri wawezeshwe kwa kupatiwa hela kidogo ili waweze kueneza mambo ya demokrasia kule. La pili, ni vizuri wahakikisha kwamba mambo ya two-third gender rule na mambo mengine yanaangaliwa vizuri, na lakini pia wao lazima wahakikisha kwamba we have political hygiene, kwa sababu hiyo haiko, na mambo ya vita vyama viache kuleta mambo ya vita na matusi. Lakini nimesema la muhimu, kila chama ihakikisha kwamba watu wanapochukua jukwaa kuzungumza hawana matusi katika vinwa vyao, kwa sababu matusi inaweza leta chuki ni vita baadaye.
Na mheshimiwa, tumalizie kwa swala la amani. Tukiwa tunaelekea katika uchaguzi mkuu, tupe wosia.
Amani itakuwako kama tutakubali kuwa katika coalition. Kwa sababu coalition, tukiwa Azimio coalition ama Oka coalition na zile zingine, tunapunguza the corrosive nature of our politics. Kwa hivyo ni kushindana na watu sasa wanaelewa ni pale ama sio ni pale. Kwa hivyo itakuwa imeleta politics, the voltage itakuwa imepunguza voltage ama joto ya siasa itakuwa imepungua kidogo, na hiyo itatupa amani. Lakini pia ni vizuri kusema kwamba tafadhali tufanye siasa, tuchaguane kwa amani, tafuta pahali utaona amani. Na katika Jubilee tutakuwa na hayo mambo, tutachunga mambo ya nominations, kwa sababu hapo ndio vita inaanza. Tutachunga mambo ya nominations kwa njia zote zile, kuhakikisha kwamba we are free and fair and we reduce the level of corrosive politics in this country.
All right, that's a good place to end. Mheshimiwa, shukran sana kwa kutenga muda wako kuja hapa. Natumai kwamba kuja mheshimiwa.
Nashukuru. Hii ndio interview yangu ya kwanza.
Wonderful.
Kama Secretary General. Nimefurahia kuona vile mmeendelea kama KBC. Napopata nafasi katika budget tutaangalia tuongezee KBC ili muweze kupata kufanya kazi ambayo inatakana kufanywa Kenya. Remember, katika katiba there is a provision for KBC in the constitution.
Asante kwa heshima hiyo.
Asante, tumeshukuru sana.
Msikilizaji, basi amekuwa ni mbunge wa Daragwa Mheshimiwa Jeremiah Kioni, ambaye pia ni katibu mkuu wa chama cha Jubilee. Ni baraka iliyoje. Mahojiano yake ya kwanza yanafanyika ndani ya Zinga. Asante sana msikilizaji kwa kuweza kutupa nafasi yako, na kwa wale wote ambao waliofanikisha masuala haya, bila kusahau wenzetu kutoka runinga ya KBC Channel 1. Mheshimiwa, muda wote umekuwa live Kenya nzima kwenye redio na vile vile pia kwenye runinga yetu ya kitaifa. Kwa hiyo bajeti iongezeke zaidi. Na vile vile pia ningependa kuwashukuru wapiga picha wetu hapa ndani ya studio, mwelekezi wetu Ben Ngui, bila kumsahau John Duarte, na vile vile pia Lucy wa Homa. Kumbuka haya yote yasingefanyika bila shukrani zaidi kwa mkuu wa kitengo cha content katika shirika la utangazaji nchini, Bwana Martin Kingasia. Kwa sasa tumemalizana na Mheshimiwa Jeremiah Kioni, tupate taarifa ya habari na Mheshimiwa Martin Kingasia. Hii ni KBC Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya, na vile vile pia endelea kutizama kipindi chetu cha Good Morning Kenya kupitia runinga yako ipendayo ya KBC Channel 1. Mimi naitwa Rashid Momkondo.
Niite Mwajuma Ali Chozi la Almasi.
Still keen on Germany's DFB Pokal as the quarter-finals is around the corner. In football, it is easy to be intimidated by the top-flight teams, but as fate would have it, new entrants do sometimes turn the tables with their patience, perseverance and self-belief.
Borussia Dortmund are out of the competition. St. Pauli take all the spoils.
It is therefore a tight affair this Tuesday, 1st of March 2022 at 10:45 p.m. in a match-pitting Union Berlin against FC St. Pauli. Watch this spectacular duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC, your true sports partner.
What do you want?
You're a cheater.
Pinky, were you thinking you would divorce Jack and then raise the baby on your own? Is that it?
Pink, it's my baby. So think about it. If I gave up on Pinky and the baby and continue seeing you, what kind of father would I be?
Get out. Come on, get out.
God, Shannon.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
When our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to be to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya from that candid conversation right there with the SG Jubilee, that is Jeremiah Kioni. We now come back to studio and talk about health conversations surrounding eye care. We want to dissect everything that you need to know about eye care treatment, the diagnosis, the cost, just basically everything that you need to know about eye care and eyewear. And my guest in studio this morning will be helping us unpack and understand all of that. I'm joined by Roslyn Kilonzo to my extreme right. She is the expansion manager at La Pair East Africa, which is an eye care company. Right next to her is Oliver Mwanko, who's the PR and communication officer at the exact same company. Lady and gent, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Doreen, for having us.
Welcome again. Let's start with understanding LAPEA as it has been involved in extensive research when it comes to eye care and eyewear in this country. But what exactly is LAPEA and what does it do?
Well, LAPEA is a Pan-African group organization revolutionizing access to eye care in Africa by giving everyone the chance to see well without breaking the bank. So what I mean, like the goal for LAPEA is not only to be a profitable organization, but only to make sure that lives of people, of Africans, are improved.
I like that, without breaking the bank. Clearly they're showing you that the cost of eye care is not one easy thing, is no mean feat. What are you doing different, Rosaline, at LAPEA? Because I mean, we have so many treatment companies, just like you're saying, cost of treatment, eye care treatment in this country is not that cheap.
Right. What we're doing differently is that we are offering access to free vision tests. So the eye screening at LAPEA is done for free. Like Oliver said, we're really trying our best to make sure that everyone in Africa has access to affordable eye care. And not just affordable, but also quality eye care. So we do the test for free. And anyone that needs glasses, they can get them at very affordable prices, starting from 3,400 Kenya shillings. And that's covering the full package, frames and lenses together. And then in addition to that, we also offer an installment payment, Lipa Mdogo Mdogo, which has become very popular among Kenyans right now. And yeah, it's proved to be a very useful, tool to help people purchase glasses. Yeah.
So you're just trying to make it easy for Kenyans to be able to afford the cost of eye care.
Basically, yes.
Even with that Lipa Mdogo Mdogo.
Yeah.
Walk us through the history of LAPEA, because it began in Kenya. It's expanding its borders to different parts in the East African section of the African continent. So basically, how did it start before it became expensive?
LAPEA is a vision, is a dream by Jerome LAPEA, which literally accumulate the same name as the company. So the guy is a Switzerland national, and while in Kenya, so he was working for he's an advocate, he's a lawyer by profession. So working in Kenya, he found out that most of his colleagues were struggling with vision but couldn't afford them. So literally, and he went into research and literally find out that 550 millions of people in Africa are in need of glasses, but only 1% of that number literally have access to it. So that literally pushed the vision to making eye care accessible and affordable for everyone.
You're really talking about the numbers and the figures and those that can be able to access treatment, those that can be able to access glasses, or those that can be able to do that. There's a recent research, which was actually data provided from your company, that showed 750,000 Kenyans have severe visual impairment and 224,000 are actually blind due to causes that can either be cured or prevented. What do you make up of such kind of data? Because again, it shows that it's perhaps going to increase as we move forward.
It's actually increasing, and the number is actually is estimated by the Ministry of Health. It's 7.5 million Kenyans are suffering from reduced vision, and they don't have access, or they haven't basically accessed the solutions for these problems. It's a problem really that is there in Kenya, such a big number of people not being able to access the services that they need. And some of the reasons associated with that is, first of all, the cost of the glasses. Glasses can be really expensive, prescription glasses, can find a pair going for 15,000, 30,000 or even more. And another problem is convenience. Convenience in terms of where do they access these services, right? There's some awareness lacking in terms of where to get the services, because yes, there's very many optical shops, but as you know, Kenyans, we have an issue with trust. We need to make sure that we are getting the best services that we can get. So that is a problem. Convenience and cost have been some of the biggest causes of that big number in Kenya.
I feel like you've really raised very pertinent issues, particularly when it comes to those figures and numbers, and this is aligned to awareness and trust. Like you've said, there are many optical shops, and there's just those ones that we feel like we trust. Huyu akiniangalia kidogo kidogo nitakuwa sawa if I'm not going to be okay. But let's talk about that awareness bit. given that you also are in that space of PR and communication in this particular company, what are you doing in your capacity? Because the way we are saying, even looking at those figures, that they are rising and they're expected to rise even as we continue moving forward. As it pertains to awareness, what are you doing?
Well, since the genesis of La Paix, let me say that we found out that many Africans do not know how to take care of their eyes, or do not know what it takes to take care of their eyes. Literally, it is advised that each and every person visit at least once an optometrist or an eye care specialist. So many Africans do not do that. Even myself, I couldn't do that before.
You work there, but you don't do that?
No,
oh, this was before.
I used not to do that before joining La Paix and getting to this particular industry and understanding the need of, taking care of thy eyes. Yeah. So when it comes to awareness, La Paix started, as a company that's providing eyeglasses for community, for let me say companies, and so it was a kind of a B2B. And then now that we are into retail and getting closer to the people, we are conducting engagement talks, community speaking as well. So literally we're going to campuses, and students nowadays are studying, facing computers or studying from computers and stuff, and they're exposed to different kind of blue lights that comes with the computer, and with the sun in Africa, many people are actually affected by the UV coming from the sun and all that. So getting into campuses and churches and community to talk about eye care, not to sell, not to do nothing, but just educate, just create that awareness for someone to know what kind of food maybe they could eat that will help them, fight better, different, prevent any type of, eye defect in the future. And I think that is the most important mission given to me at La Paix.
What has that reception been like, seeing that it's not one of those things that is also done by most optical companies or optical shops?
Because, it's the mindset. When you open or you run an organization with the mindset of making money, you won't make so much impact. But La Paix runs with the vision of helping people, helping people to achieve what is best for them. And let me say that. And literally, with the data that we have in our disposal, we have managed to literally test the eyes of more than 60,000 people across Africa, which is a good win for a young and company that is revolutionizing access to eye care, literally just helping people see better. And I think that's the most important mission that I can even think of myself.
Well said. Rosalind, there's a part that Oliver mentioned that it's very important to go for those frequent eye checkups, and he said that before he even joined this company, he didn't used to do that, just trying to show us that we don't consider it as important. Up until he realized by there, I can't see far, I can't see near, sort of like the sun affects me. That's when you feel like, okay, now let me start going for the checkups. But what is the importance of just frequently going for those checkups, whether or not you feel you have an eye problem?
It's quite important, actually. Eyes are very important.
Oh, yes.
Sight, very important, right? The same way, we visit the dentist regularly, the same way we go to see our gynecologist regularly, that's the same. Like, we should make that a habit as well for our eyes. Not necessarily because we think we have a problem or, like we need glasses or something like that. Just go in, see your eye care professional, and have that test done. Especially for people who are suffering from diabetes and high blood pressure. They're predisposed to the conditions that basically can make their vision reduced. And for them, especially, I recommend at least even twice a year. For regular people, who does not have any of the lifestyle diseases, you can go at least once a year. But if you're suffering from diabetes or hypertension, check with your optometrist, your eye doctor, at least twice in a year.
What conditions are this? Expand a bit further, because I feel like this was sort of like a new information to me, that for people that are exposed to some of these lifestyle diseases, then they're more predisposed to having eye care problems. So which conditions are this particular particularly?
Mostly it's diabetes and hypertension. Mostly those two are the most common ones when it comes to affecting your vision.
Why? What is the linkage?
There's a lot of...
Just for better understanding, because you see, someone might be thinking, okay, perhaps they have hypertension or diabetes, but they didn't think there's any linkage to that affecting my eyes. So what is the linkage?
Actually, there is. So in diabetes, for example, when your blood sugar is either too high or it's too low, your vision will become blurry. And this happens from time to time, depending on your blood sugar. You get? And so, of course, in addition to seeing your general practitioner to advise on how you need to eat or the kind of medication you need to take to manage your diabetes and hypertension, you need to see your eye doctor as well, so that they can advise on how the diabetes is going to affect your vision, because it does. And when that happens, then you need glasses that can help you to be able to see clearly. Yes.
What about hypertension?
Hypertension as well. I'm not a doctor. First of all, let me start by saying that. I'm just a business person. I would prefer that
to be
being answered by an actual professional, because I want to get into anything that I may not be able to explain.
All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anyway, now let's come to those causes, Oliver, that perhaps would affect our eyes, because some would say that perhaps if my dad used to wear glasses, there's a possibility of me wearing glasses. Like for me, where I come from, both my dad and mom actually wear glasses. None of us has ever had like a serious eye problem, but just gets to a certain age where you sort of like your eyes can't quite see clearly. So is it genetic? What are some of these causes that lead to either short or long-sightedness, or basically the entire eye problem?
So when it comes to that, the genes went to the genetic perspective. I think it is also important that to note that 20% of at least of the genetic rendered by vision or can trouble vision as well. So when your parents wear glasses, you have 20%. Let me say 20%
of getting an eye problem?
20% of getting facing the same problem as your parents. And that's one point. And other causes of the most common eye defect, maybe it's short-sightedness, short-sightedness. So meaning myopia. And myopia is when you can't see far, and you can only see well when things are near your parameters, let me say that. And then there is long-sightedness, which is presbyopia, for people who actually can't see near, but they all can see far. Those kind of defects, presbyopia, occurs to people who are above 40 and above. You literally find out that our parents, or maybe someone that is of that age, before reading a journal or maybe a newspaper, will or maybe manipulating their phone, we literally just push it a little bit farther to see better. So those are the most common defects that we face currently when it comes to eye care in Kenya.
And also age has the contributing factor.
Yes, age is also a contributing factor. But nowadays, everyone can get it, simply because with technology in the 21st century, we are dealing with screens all over. So there's no one in the developing country and pass a day without even being exposed to any screen. Even when you're walking in town, there are still screens, literally. So our world is turning around screens, and that is also accumulating and multiplying the numbers of people, like literally who are facing the eye defect challenges.
Rosalind, when someone walks to your institution and they really telling you that for some reason, or based on this number of days, I've not been able to see well, or my eyes are just itching over time, or sometimes they turn red, like for me sometimes they just turn red all of a sudden, what is the first step for this person before they get the treatment, before they get the glasses? Because some also get eye drops, depending on the defect or how far it has reached.
Right. The very first thing is to understand the patient's history. the customer's history.
So it's not just attacking the problem from...
It's not just attacking the problem, head on from what has been presented to you. You have to understand if it's red eyes, for example, when did that start? How did that start? What were some of the conditions that you were exposed to when that started? You need to be able to understand that to be able to explain to the person, your eyes are turning red because of 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's dust. Maybe it's some sort of other allergy. Maybe you've been using your computer for too long without any protection for your eyes. So the first thing to do is to understand the history of the person. What are some of the conditions they've been exposed to get the kind of condition that they have at the moment. You mentioned earlier something about genetics being involved in someone's eyes. So we also ask, we also need to understand, do any of your parents have, do they wear glasses? What kind of glasses do they wear? Do they have any of the lifestyle conditions? Because then that also helps us if you are also predisposed to getting any of these conditions, and then we can help you from there. So that's the very first thing we do.
So what usually happens, and I largely speak from experience because clearly,
as we can see,
what usually happens, this is someone who's clearly having that problem. They're either wearing specs or contacts, depending on the kind of treatment they've been prescribed. But even at that, sometimes they will still feel their eyes itchy. Like I said, they will still, their eyes sometimes will turn red. They'll just be constantly touching their eyes. What usually happens, because at this point you are on treatment.
You are on treatment.
You're basically sort of like supposed to be okay.
Yeah, not exactly, because there is the eye defects that Oliver mentioned. There is the short-sightedness, the long-sightedness, the presbyopia in them, and then there is allergies. So yes, you might be wearing glasses to correct your short-sightedness, but you're still allergic to dust or something else. You get. So in that case, you might find yourself using both glasses and eye drops. The glasses to address your short-sightedness, and then the eye drops to address the allergies. Yes.
So you can actually be getting some of these challenges even at it.
Yes, you can.
All right, you had talked about foods earlier, and I want us to just dive into that a bit, because again, when you looked at those figures and numbers, it shows that most of these people that face this eye care problem, it could have been prevented instead of just going to the entire treatment altogether, which could really be costly. So what foods are this that we are talking about that could help people?
For what I've been also advised, I think the best food is going into fruits. Fruits play a very major role when it comes to helping to clear your eyesight. And then we have fish as well, that will literally also contribute in terms of making your eyes a little bit stronger, when it comes to allergies and stuff. And then we've got carrots. Carrot will also help to cleanse your eyesight as well. And I think those are the three major kind of foods that I've been told and I've tasted, and now I'm sure that they really help with eyesight.
Do we have alternatives? Obviously we have alternatives to glasses. We have contacts and different other things, like you mentioned, the eye drops.
Right.
So at what point, or depending on how far this defect has gone, does someone really get to know that at this point, actually at this point it could be glasses, at this point it could be contacts, at this point it could be eye drops? Let me start with you, Oliver.
The best thing is, that's why it is advised to visit, an eye specialist at least once a year. So like do frequent vision test or eye checkup. So meaning to know the condition and from where it is, from where it's starting to where it's going. And simply we have other defects like glaucoma and cataracts that we literally can push you to get a surgery in the later days, or maybe when they get serious, And with an eye specialist, they will literally advise on how to go about it. If on this stage, what do you need? Is it an eye drop? At this stage, what do you need? Is it glasses? Is it contact lenses that will help you right now? Or maybe it's a surgery. So all that you can get it if only you get frequent vision test.
Yeah, I asked that because there are those that at some point would say, I think at this point I'm tired of wearing glasses, so I want to wear contacts. And you have those that actually just wear them for beauty purposes.
Yeah, I get that a lot. And it's not upon, though eyewear is also a fashion, item when it comes to, style. But, at the end of the day, some people do not wear glasses because they want to, but because they have to. When it comes to, prescription glasses, so they are doomed to wear glasses. Maybe for some people it's a burden. Some people, they started wearing glasses when they were still maybe very young,
so they're tired
and so they're tired of them, and it's not at their disposal to claim or maybe to decide that from today I start wearing contact lenses, or I want to do one thing or the other. But it's upon the the advice of the eye specialist or the professional qualified optometrists, opticians, or maybe let me say ophthalmologists to decide that at this particular rate or at this particular stage what you need is this. Then from that advice you can take it in, and then evaluate, and then why not put it into practice.
So this is why it's important to actually go for those checkups and do them regularly and frequently. Do we have different forms of glasses, and what are they depending on which defect, Rosalie?
Right. Yes, we do have different types of glasses. We have the single focus lenses that only you can see only one. Basically one focus, if I may say that. And then we have what we call bifocals and progressives. So to explain bifocals and progressives are usually worn mostly by people over the age of 40 to be able to help them to see from far and to see from near as well. There's a problem that the condition that Oliver mentioned earlier called presbyopia, which happens to people from the age of 40 and above, in that the lenses inside their eyes become less flexible such that they cannot adjust their vision according to distance. So they can see far very well, but they cannot see close. And that's why you find them when they're reading the newspaper or they're using their phone, they have to take it a bit further to be able to see, because they're using their distant vision and not their near vision. So now bifocal lenses, I'm sure you've probably seen them around. They have like a line that you can clearly see center. Exactly. There's a segmentation. There's one part and then there's another part at the bottom. So the part at the bottom is supposed to help them to see from close, right, when they're reading, because it's like right at the bottom.
Is this why
of
you
the
see them like sometimes do something like this?
Exactly. and then we have the upper part that they can use when they're driving, when they're walking, basically to be able to see things from far. And then the other option is progressive lenses. Again, also worn with by people with presbyopia who are above the age of 40. And the only difference between the bifocals and the progressives is that line. So the progressives will still be able to see far and near as well. The lenses are adjusted that way, but there's no line. It's kind of just smooth. It just looks like your lenses. You won't be able to tell whether this person has presbyopia or not. So those are the different types of lenses. And then when it comes now to coatings, the coatings usually depends on the kind of problem that the person has. So we have our basic anti-glare coating that usually helps reduce glare on surfaces, reduces that reflection, and then there is the photochromatic lenses, and the photochromatic lenses usually help people with photosensitivity. So you may have noticed, like some people, they cannot tolerate walking outside in the sun. Like when they're walking out, I am one of those people. When I'm walking outside in the sun, I have to be squinting the whole day. My eyes are already small.
But you can see well.
So exactly, I can see well, but but with that, because of that light, I have to squint when I'm walking outside, and because of that, I have to wear sunglasses to help minimize that light. So we have photochromatic lenses that usually tint when you go outside in the sun to reduce that light, right? And then when you're indoors, they are clear. They are usually activated by the UV rays coming from the sun, and that's why, because when we're indoors, there's no UV rays, and then the lenses become clear. So those are especially for people with photosensitivity or light sensitivity. Then the last option is the blue light blocking lenses, which are worn especially by people who use their screens a lot, which nowadays is pretty much everyone. Phones, TVs, computers, everything. And what they do is they filter out the blue light emitted by these screens to make it, comfortable for the user to use that screen for long periods of time.
All right. So when you talked about those lenses, even the photochromatic, this is why we see them sometimes change color.
Yes.
They will turn to dark blue depending.
Exactly.
Again, on that lenses bit, then does it mean that depending on age, is it a dependent on age that particularly a child at this age could wear this when you're older, mid-age? Or
not necessarily. The lenses, the different coatings especially that I mentioned, it's not about age, it's about your problem.
Okay.
Right? I have photosensitivity, so I wear photochromatic lenses. Maybe you have short-sightedness, but you have no problem with light, so you can just wear clear lenses that do not tint. It depends on the problem that the person has. You can have even progressives and bifocals that I explained earlier be photochromic, because the person wearing them, not only do they suffer from not being able to see near and not being able to see far, but they also have a photosensitivity problem. So they have lenses that are going to help them with all their problem. The photosensitivity, the seeing far, the seeing near.
So it's no preserve of age, just depends on the issue.
Not necessarily.
And this perhaps why some of them really costly, some of them are not quite.
Yes.
Depending on also the different varieties of issues that your eye has.
Exactly.
When it comes to that lenses bit, Oliver, what is the recommended time to be changing your lenses or glasses altogether? After how long and why?
Yeah, so some people wear glasses, as I said, because they are fashion accessories. But for others, it's a must to wear them, and also depend on their pockets. Today, if they tell you to as a Kenyan who's just trying to survive, let me say that if you are to change your clothes, so you look at your pocket and say that at this time I need to change my wardrobe. Same thing also with glasses when it comes to fashion. Okay, so you can say, okay, I have the money, so what I need is be changing glasses literally depending on how I dress maybe, or how I conduct myself. And then number two option is to check in again with the eye specialist. And sometimes your eyes, with time, the condition can get worse, and then the glasses that you were wearing could not contain the kind of new prescription that you are having. So literally it will help you to, when going to the optometrist, and or optician or ophthalmologist, they will let you know that it's now time to change your lenses. It's not time to change your glasses. So literally that.
So basically, every year when you go in for your checkup, right? Oliver mentioned earlier that you need to go in at least once a year to see your eye care professional.
Yes.
So it's at that point that they determine the lenses that you have, are they still serving you, or do you need to change them? So ideally, it's advised that you change your lenses at least once a year, every year.
And that's why we cannot emphasize on the fact that it's very important to actually go for these checkups.
Yeah.
But what usually happens, because you've mentioned somewhere while you're explaining the time frame that one needs to take to perhaps change the lens if they want to, and you mentioned that sometimes the condition might get worse. What usually happens for someone to get at that point? Because this is someone that is wearing the glasses, they have been doing that, and they do not operate without them. So it's like taking drugs. You religiously and generously do that, but still that condition gets worse and worse at some point that even you can get to go for a surgery. What usually happens in that scenario?
There's age factor, let me say that. And number two, let me say, if you were working before before COVID-19 hit, and you were working maybe, let me say, 4 to 3 hours, on your computers. But now that COVID has hit, COVID hit, since the COVID hit, you're working longer hours and you're working from home. Instead of spending 2 hours, 3 hours to your computers, you are now spending 8 hours on your computers.
Okay.
So literally, and if you had lenses that could only take care of you, of your eyes rather, for only 2 to 4 hours, let me say that, and now you will see yourself being exposed more. And then the type of lenses you might have been having maybe could have been anti-glare. But right now, once the condition, you spend more time on your computers, I think now it's 8 hours, maybe you will need blue block lenses when it comes to the quad. And that's one. So at the age factor, when you are 20 years, maybe let me say 27, 28, or maybe your vision is a little bit, a little bit clearer than what you will be able to see when you are above 40 or something. So by the time you hit 40, you will see that by that time you will start normally, and then you start putting it here, then it's still going further and further when depending on your age and also the genetic, as you said. The more you are with the family that you normally wear glasses, and it's more likely that you will get those conditions, and those conditions, if they are not prevented, they will worsen.
But also what you have to keep in mind is that glasses, they are a tool to help you see better. They don't actually change your anatomy. They don't change your eyes, if I may say that. So our bodies are growing every day. Your eyes will still keep growing. You get? So the glasses are just there to serve as a tool to be able to adjust your vision and to be able to see from far. So your eyes, whatever is happening in the background will still keep happening, and that's why from time to time you need to change your lenses, because your body, your eyes need a better prescription to be able to see, to help you see from far. I think the misconception that people have is that glasses are just going to fix, your vision. They just help to correct it. They help to help you to see near or far, but they don't change whatever is happening in your body.
So it's like the misconception surrounding glasses is like they will heal me.
Yeah, that is not true, unfortunately.
When I wear these glasses for like 2 years, I wouldn't need to wear them anymore because now I'll be good. That is the misconception surrounding.
It is, and it's a it's a problem because you will find people who truly believe in that, and they truly think I only need to wear these glasses for 1 year.
I believed so to some extent, because for the longest time in my life I wasn't wearing glasses up until recently.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to disappoint. I'm really sorry to disappoint. I wish that was the case.
And actually I realized the more I keep wearing, it's like the more I keep not seeing well the moment I remove them.
So what happens in that case, actually, it's something that can be explained, because what happens in that case is how you were seeing before you used to wear your glasses. To you, that seemed to be the normal.
Yeah.
Like that seemed to be the normal. However, when you went in for the checkup, you realized it is not normal, and that you can actually see better with the help of glasses. So your eyes were struggling before you started wearing glasses, but they used to think of that as the new normal. Then you get your glasses and your vision is adjusted and your eyes are no longer straining anymore. They are relaxed, very comfortable. You can see very well with your glasses. So when you remove your glasses now, your eyes go back into how it was before, and they do not like it.
What is this? What is happening?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about, again, something that I've also witnessed over time, especially for people that have worn glasses for a very long time. Either their eyes will pop out, or just when they remove the glasses, like you don't see their eyes anymore. They have just gone inside kabisa, or they pop out. What usually happens?
What do you mean pop out?
It's like, how would I explain it? They're not as normal as how they were before.
I think I know what you mean. It's something that people are always afraid of,
is it
especially when they start trying glasses. To be honest, it's not something that you can actually explain, because it's not like glasses are going to do something to your body that is going to make your eyes.
So is it like another misconception?
Probably, yeah. I think I would say that, because there's actually no an
but you've seen it. Now you're getting the question.
There's no an actual explanation behind it. It's just, it happens, I guess. It doesn't happen to everyone, so that means it's not necessarily related.
When
you're getting it,
when you're used to one environment, let me say that you feel comfortable. Let me say, when you are coming from outside where there's sunlight, and you are directly sent into a room which is dark, what will happen that from the time you leave that the sunlight environment, going to that room, you probably see nothing until you settle. And it's the same thing coming from a darker room, going outside. From the time you step outside, you will see that sunlight will hit you, and then you will squint for I don't know how many seconds for that, and until your eyes now will get comfortable. The same thing also with people who wear glasses. When your eyes are used to one environment, one condition, seeing this particular way, and then you remove them, they will have to adjust. Then it takes a little bit of seconds or minute, then your eyes can get to the normal state.
The normal state.
Yeah.
I felt like it was important for me to ask, because when we were beginning this conversation and you're talking about how the numbers are rising and they are expected to continue, I felt like this is just some of those misconceptions that make people to not go for checkups, because what if they detect I have an eye problem, then I have to wear glasses, then this has to happen to me. So altogether, I just won't go. You get what I'm saying?
I do get what
Glasses also can work as a preventive measure, literally. And one time I was literally riding across town, and just a kid, I don't know, they were playing, and then just the guy alirusha nini mawe, then it hit one person's eye. So my thought was, if that person were wearing glasses, that kamawe couldn't have hit him. And it's a preventive measure whereby you can go across anything that could have come directly to affect your eyes, and then glasses can also protect you from there. And we got another testimonial from one of our patients, let me say that, they were involved in a car accident, but simply because he was or she was wearing glasses, and then those glasses protected her from getting the heat of one portion of the glass of the car,
and affecting the eyes altogether.
Literally. So it was but the only good thing is like the glasses fall off, and then they remained intact, no scratch, nothing. And that was one of the best testimonial that we've had.
Wow, that was good and beautiful, even giving us testimonials, especially for when it comes to just ensuring that we keep checking our eyes. And even from the first part where you mentioned whether you are feeling sick or not, it is a regular basis. It is necessary. It is important. And I think that's a good place to end this conversation. I believe that our viewers have become enlightened, and even just trying to deal with the misconceptions surrounding glassware and eye care altogether. All right, so I have been speaking to Rosalind Kilonzo. She is the expansion manager at La Paix East Africa, which is an eye care company, as well as Oliver Mwanko, a PR and communications officer at the same company. They have been talking to us about eye care and what you can do as a Kenyan to just understand the whole dynamic surrounding eye care and what to do if you are diagnosed with such kind of a disease. This is how you bring this segment to a close, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya. Till tomorrow, I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Have a beautiful Tuesday morning.
Thank you.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
Honourable members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Hii ni mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC yaliyomo. Muungano wa Afrika watoa wito wa kusitisha mara moja kwa mashambulizi ya Urusi dhidi ya Ukraini. Baadaye uchaguzi nchini Somalia wahairishwa kwa mara nyingine. Kunani? Kisha Kiswahili kitukuzwe. Umoja wa Afrika umepitisha lugha ya Kiswahili kwa lugha rasmi ya kikazi. Mubashara kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, usibanduke. Karibu katika habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Jina langu ni Hamida Abubakar. Muungano wa Afrika umeelezea wasiwasi wake kuhusu mashambulizi ya Urusi dhidi ya Ukraini na kutoa wito wa kusitishwa mara moja. Mashambulizi hayo yameingia siku yake ya pili hii leo baada ya Urusi kuanzisha mashambulizi katika maeneo kadhaa ikiwemo mji mkuu wa Kiev. Alhamisi hii, wanafunzi wengi kutoka Afrika wanasomea Ukraini huku maelfu wakiwa katika vyuo vikuu nchini humo. Vita hivyo vimezua wasiwasi kuhusu usalama wa raia wa nchi zingine. Hebu tuwasikilize baadhi yao.
Nilijaribu kuwasiliana na rafiki zangu kuhusu taarifa zote walizonazo za kuondoka humo nchini, lakini hakuna chochote. Tumeweka mabegi yetu tayari, kila kitu kimefanyika kwa haraka sana hii leo asubuhi.
Nimeamka na kusikia mlipuko. Nikashtuka sana kwa sababu sikutarajia. Nikajaribu kuwasiliana na wenzangu kujua kama nilichokisikia ni sawa.